Hello and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode 246, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, Lap 11. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too, and this episode's brought to you by Cell 108 Production Games. Tokyo Thief. Stealth, action, and thievery. Shout out to Tokyo Thief.
Well, shout out to Cell 108 Production Games, Tokyo Thief, and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. After the break, we'll be talking about Tokyo Drift. Not really a Tokyo Thief, although there are thieves in it, in Tokyo. But Joe, extracurricular activities. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
I had a pretty great weekend. I went back to visit my parents in Pittsburgh and to go to a friend's wedding and stayed for the 4th. Spent Saturday at the and my sister and her fiance were there, so it was a full house. Yeah, Saturday we did wedding things. Sunday we actually went somewhere that I hadn't gone in a very, very long time, Kennywood, which is the Pittsburgh amusement park.
Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't been there since I moved, at least, so that's 10 years. And it was a lot of fun. It was me, my dad, my sister, her fiance Rachel, my mom, and then one of the guys that works for my dad at the store and his girlfriend, and we just had like a fun little kid blast day, although most of us can't really ride rides anymore.
Sure, yeah.
Like as you get older, like I could do them, but like, you have to take a break in between, and we were all like laughing that like, when you're a kid, it's like you eat and you immediately run to the next ride and you eat as fast as you can. Rachel, I think, made it through about 2 rides total. And, like, anything that spins and stuff, like, she can't do anymore. She just gets sick. So she was just, like, chewing Dramamine to look at rides. And the rest of us were like, damn, we feel really, really old today.
I don't remember her having issues when we went to Universal a couple years ago, or those is more relaxed rides.
She didn't ride any super thrill rides, and she definitely still ate a ton of Dramamine. But it keeps getting worse and worse as she gets older.
Because I remember thinking, I was talking about it with somebody recently. We went on that Harry Potter ride where it was like kind of VR, but not really VR, but it was like that.
Yes, she doesn't ride that. I think she probably skipped that one, to be honest.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because we went once to Universal, and when it was just her and I before we went, and she closed her eyes through the whole ride. I don't know if
because I remember that one. That one's an intense one, not intense in terms of scary, but intense in terms of like what it does to your body, right? So
yes, but you remember I think there was 5 of us, right?
You, me, Matt, Adam, and Zach. No, Zach didn't go.
Yeah, so I think there's 5 of us. So I think that like on a lot of those...
Oh, yeah, you, me, Matt, Adam, Rachel. Yeah.
So I think she skipped some of those. I don't remember, but I feel like she did now that I think about it, right? Because it's 4. That's an even number of riders. So yeah, we did that, and then we went to dinner, and Monday I cooked out at my dad's house, made a whole bunch of food, got to see one of the kids that was working with me that now left and went to the University of Pittsburgh, a couple of the other co-workers that my dad has that work at the shop came over, and yeah, it was just an overall really great weekend.
Did you guys drive or did you fly out there?
No, we drive. When we go home,
because you have flown in the last couple of years, right? Or was that sort of like because I have to go out there because my dad got beat up at work?
No, we were there for 4th of July when he got beat up. But when he had his heart attack, I flew Rachel out and then met her. So like,
gotcha. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like we haven't really flown. The drive's not super bad. It's like 7 or 8 hours, but like we gotten used to it, especially during COVID. You know what I mean? So we cruise. We found a new it's something. It sounds like Comedy Bang Bang, but it's like Trivia Bang Bang or something like this.
Oh, I have no idea.
And it's just like a podcast. It's like 20 It's like bar trivia, just in podcast form.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we were listening to some of that, and yeah, we just cruised and had a really great weekend. What did you do for the 4th? Anything fun?
I had barbecues on Sunday and Monday. Oh, Sundays was sort of a little bit disrupted. It was at Ben and Jen's house, who you know from my barbecues.
Yes.
But their toddler had a fever, so there was going to be like a bigger thing. But everybody who had kids basically didn't go because they didn't want to be like ground zero for daycare.
Makes sense.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So just, me and a couple other people who don't have kids went over. We just hung out outside while she was sick inside. But that was fun. And then on Monday, I went down to Tom's River to my friend's house because they live near people who have way too much money, like to show off with all their fireworks. And so
that's
we
cool.
just, stand in their front yard, their backyard, and just watch all these people set off like tons and tons of fireworks all the way around.
That's
so
cool.
it was great.
Nice.
A lot of fun, really good food, good fireworks show, which was nice. Before that, Bob came over on Thursday. We did like a bunch of different Lottery Pod stuff. We talked to 2 different authors, did 2 episodes.
Nice.
So that was a lot on Thursday. I think that was kind of it. We did Fight Club for 1999, the podcast. That'll be out by the time this episode comes out. That comes out on this Monday as we record this.
I love Fight Club. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's good. It was good. Still hold up. It's one of those where like we talked about in the episode where I was like, it kind of feels worrisome or something, or like dangerous, because like when I saw Joker I was like, I don't like the message that this is putting out there. Like I think that this is dangerous, like it's sort of inciting like chaos or whatever, and this kind of does the same thing, but it's also like, hey, no, this is a very bad idea.
Yes.
Whereas I think with Joker it was kind of like, hey, this would be kind of cool, right? It's like, no,
no,
not really.
I disagree, but I get what you're coming from. But you're right, Fight Club is like, it's all tongue, it's like satire, you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Yeah.
And like the thing is that just morons don't realize that and think it's like a movie about a cool guy that starts a club about fighting, and it's like, well, it's like,
right.
Yeah.
Not quite, but close, but not quite. I think that's sort of it. I'm trying to think if I've been watching anything of note. Bob and I are watching, separately but together, whatever. Ozark season 2. Did you guys watch Ozark? I think I brought it up here before, but I don't remember. Have you watched Ozark or no?
I think that Rachel and I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of it. It's on our short list. We're gonna get to it. I want to finish Better Call Saul first, and we're in season 4 of Better Call Saul.
Right. Okay.
We didn't get a chance to watch that or finish Stranger Things while we were home because we were like, doing family stuff and like hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't get to like watch any shows or anything of interest.
Because Ozark is, I think you guys would like it because it's basically trash TV with a nice budget and it looks good.
Really?
Like it's camp. It's so over the top, and like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, like crazy stuff happens, but like to a certain extent, it's like it's grounded in reality.
Yeah, true.
This is like just insane stuff. So I think you guys would like that. I mean, we're watching it very, very slowly. We are only, we do like maybe 2 or 3 episodes a week. So we've been on the show for a while. So if you guys watch it, you'll definitely blow.
4 or 5? I feel like it has 4, right?
4, but the 4th was it did the Sopranos thing and the Better Call Saul thing where it was split into 2.
And it's over now, right?
Yeah, it just ended a couple months ago. But even if you wait to finish Better Call Saul, you will finish this like months before we do probably. But yeah, it's good. It's weird. It's like, it's very campy. It's very corny. Not corny, but it's just like, it's crazy in a fun way, but it's also like, ooh, this is not. People compare it to Breaking Bad, and I'm like, it's going for a different thing, and it's taking me some time to sort of ramp up to it, but I like it now. I don't love it yet, but I still like it.
Because I watched like the first 1 or 2 episodes, and I wasn't super into it, but Rachel's parents were just telling us that they really liked it, and they just finished it, and we kind of like, share shows like that and often watch very similar things. I mean, they're all very popular things, so it's not like a big surprise, but they were telling us to watch it recently too, so.
The actor that I like the most on it is this woman, Julia Garner. She was in The Americans a little bit. She was the lead in The Assistant. She plays a character named Ruth on it, and she's insane, and it's great, and I love her. She's wonderful, and she's like, her character is really, truly nuts, but also like kind of like the best part of the show, I think.
Okay.
So I'm watching it for like, I like Jason Bateman. I think Laura Linney's pretty good. The actors who play their kids are good, but like, Julia Garner's where it's at.
Okay.
But that's about it, I think. I don't think there's anything else really of note. Maybe more next week. I don't know. Oh, I do want to say before I get too far into the show, Hall of Fame voting still open.
Good call. Yeah.
We have a couple more weeks. So this is episode 246. On episode 250, we will announce who was inducted. So if you go to cageclub.me/bracket, go there and vote on the Hall of Fame. You voted. We got a bunch of people who voted, but I would still like to have more people who voted. So go there, cageclub.me/bracket. Who gets immortality in the Too Fast, Too Forever Hall of Fame? Or even if you don't want people to get inducted, it's like, who's going to drop off the ballot? Who's not going to be eligible next year,
also
right?
True.
So
yeah, very true.
Lots of possibilities there. But if you also care about the show, we have a Patreon page, toofast2forever.com. Shout out to Cassie Wilson, Ben Milliman, Nick Burris, Alex Ellenin, Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Haley Gerbies, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke Hayden, Renato Di Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us at the $5 a month level or above. Got a bonus episode coming out the week after next. So,
do we?
Even $1 a month gets you in the door. All the bonus episodes over there. toofast2forever.com for that. We also have an email address, family@cageclub.me. And we have 2 emails, one of which is... So this, I don't know what to make of it, because the attitude and the picture and the episode it was on all feel of a certain kind, but it seems like the comment actually listened, so I don't know.
Okay.
But a new comment on 2-Lane Blacktop.
Uh-oh.
From a user named Jax Unfiltered. Icon is a Stormtrooper helmet, and they say, you do realize that the 55 Chevy used in this movie is the all capital letters same car used in American Graffiti. Not the same kind of car, the same car.
No, I didn't realize
Hence the roll cage. If you look close, you can see the little bits that match. There's a magazine article online from way back all about the subject.
I had no idea. That's actually kind of factual. I mean, like, that was kind of a nice comment. I did not realize that.
I was like, the capital letters maybe just like for emphasis, because you can't do formatting in there. I'm like, is this person yelling at us? But like, no, they listened to the episode. So I'm also like afraid, not afraid, but like every time somebody comments on 2-Lane Blacktop, I assume that they were just angry.
Yes.
So to have someone actually like leave a constructive comment, it's like, are you sure you know what you're doing?
No, and that's an awesome fact. Something that we didn't know. I didn't know that, and that's really, really cool. Yeah, and it wasn't just motor mouths. This isn't the movie.
Speaking of cars, this is something I will have to take the blame for, but I don't know cars. I'm very clear up front. I don't know cars, so there's also a little bit of you.
Yep.
Our email today is from Alex Ellenin, subject line, Filthy Casuals, and he starts with off, letter to the editor.
Okay, what did he say?
Joey reference of the Mona Lisa's back in Fast X. You goddamn plebeians should know that the Mona Lisa was a 2001 Nissan Silvia S15 and not Han's wide-body RX-7.
That's the Veil side. I said the Veil side, but I knew what you were talking about. The Mona Lisa is the orange and blue
the drift car.
Yeah.
Whoops. But again, I don't know cars. I don't like cars. I don't care about cars.
And I knew what Joey was talking about because I had seen the picture, and I said Veilside.
Just a couple other things. In the Fast Minute, that happens a lot at our house. You guys noticed the boat engine in Tej's garage. The engine for the 92 to 95 Corvette ZR1 was built by Mercury Marine, as there were no GM facilities who could handle the special production required for the engines.
What?
The company got to keep 2 engines for themselves. They were fitted to a speedboat called the Wet Vet. W-E-T-T-E, Vet. Like,
Very
Corvette
cool.
Wet. Boat engines are wild. There's a company making outboard V12 motors. There's also Thai longboats, T-H-A-I, like the country, Thai longboats, which these lunatics are putting car and truck engines basically on a pole and racing them on rivers in Thailand. There's a couple with turbo diesels making 500 horsepowers, and it's essentially an engine on a pole on a board.
That's crazy. Oof. This weekend we went to go eat at this place in Pittsburgh that I really like called Redfin Blues, and it's like one of the only very strangely for having 3 rivers, we have very few waterfront places to hang out. Doesn't make any sense to me.
That is weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole river that goes, like, right through the middle of the city. Like, 2 rivers that go right through the middle of the city. And, like, there's not many, like, places. But there's a restaurant that's there. And we saw this boat that had, like, cigarette boat on the side of it. And was, like, painted all cool. And my dad actually, like, found the guy, like, pull it up. And he was like, like, what kind of engine do you have in there? And he was like, I have 2 V8, like, 8-liter engines in this boat. It was, like, huge. So, yes, boat engines are crazy. Boat people are crazy, and like you could put like ridiculous engines in these boats to drive, like fly up and down the river for no reason.
That's so weird. I mean, it's cool. It's weird, but it's cool.
It's the same thing as like any other thing, right? Like more power, Tim Tool. Yeah.
Alex says moving starts this weekend, so I'll be spending the rest of the month driving across Ohio. Pray for cheaper gas, please, Alex. Well, good luck with that.
Fingers crossed for you, bud. Yeah, for the cheaper gas. I'm sorry.
I think that is a perfect time to either start listening to this podcast from the beginning or dive into Zack Attack or Boyfriend Material.
That's
or
funny.
Any other fine programming on the Cage Club Podcast Network, cageclub.me/shows.
Haley just messaged me and said that she had finished Boyfriend Material and was asking for more Boyfriend Material. And I was
well, there's no more Gosley.
That's what I said
one
to her.
Episode.
Yeah.
We got burnt out on Boyfriend Material, and I watched every episode of Young Hercules. I'm like, you need to watch these 5. And then you were going to do the same thing for that boat school show.
Which was a blast. That show's so much fun.
But we never did that. You never finished that, did you? Or did you?
Oh, no. I got really deep. I don't remember because I don't know how many seasons there was, but I watched like multiple seasons of Breaker High, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
I didn't watch any of that. That's the only episode we didn't do. But like Gosling has not done more.
This is
since
what I
then.
said
So he's
to
in a
her.
movie coming out this summer.
And Barbie, he's
But-
working on Barbie. Obviously, we'll do
gonna be
Barbie.
so
I'm
good.
sure. I'm really
But
excited.
his movie this summer is a Netflix movie. So, we have that. There's nothing like, for the most part, like we didn't do like the awards, but who cares about the awards? But like for the most part, the Gosling content we're caught up on. Like it's not like we were missing stuff there.
Yeah,
so.
it was like really early him being a little boy in TV shows. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all the emails. If you want to email in, family@cageclub.me. Also, I do want to say, like we're talking about it, but if you are a new listener to Too Fast and you want something that's like similar but different, Joe and I we have like 40 or something episodes of Zack Attack, all Zac Efron movies, and about 40 of Ryan Gosling movies, and about 15 of Channing Tatum. We didn't finish those, but cageclub.me/shows for a whole bunch of different stuff. We've got like 30 something podcasts over there, like 2,000 episodes in total.
Yeah.
Joe and I have done a bunch. Mike Manzi, Brian Rodriguez, everybody who's been on here have done a ton. They have their own shows, whatever, but just poke around there.
That's what Haley was saying too. And then she finished boyfriend material and moved on to HTML. And I was like, that's really cool. Little crossover.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shout out Nico.
Yep.
Shout out Kevo. Joe, on the streets, news about the Fast and Furious. Have you seen any news in the last week?
No, none at all. Like, not even anything about like the actors, not even adjacent bullshit stuff like I try to bring here. Nothing.
I don't think I have either. I'm going to take a look at our Twitter just one more time just to check, but I don't think there's been anything. Keanu was at an F1 track. That's not really news.
I saw that. I got to watch the first part of the British Grand Prix this weekend. I saw and you know who else was there?
Who?
Tom Cruise.
He turned 60 last week, which is crazy.
He doesn't look 60 at all. That's insane. But yeah, I was thinking of you because I saw they like followed Tom Cruise around. He was on the grid like when they were starting the race, like walking through. That's like super fancy boy privilege, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like
That's
when
power.
Yeah, it's like, being on the field at the Super Bowl, like them just walking around there is crazy. So like seeing him there was cool. And Keanu was like in a garage, right? He was like in the paddock, like in the back.
He was out on the track, I think, looking at, or maybe, I don't know, I can't tell. It's only like 12 seconds. Who knows what he was actually doing?
That's very cool. Gordon Ramsay too. I mean, there's like a lot of guys that like get to go there. It's cool to see. So
Reaction Rocket tweeted at us an interview from the James Corden show where Vin Diesel was on, and maybe Ed Sheeran's writing the song for Fast X. Who knows?
Oh,
but
yeah, that's
Reaction
right.
Rocket said Vin confirms Fast X is still one movie in two parts, but won't exactly confirm they're the last ones. Also, maybe a little insight on how he lands all these big stars. He just doesn't give them a chance to say no. Well, I mean, like, who's going to say no, really? Just, I guess, I don't know.
And it's also like that if somebody says like, man, I'd love to be in the Fast and Furious, Vin's like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Here you go. Show up. I'll get you on.
But that's it. So cageclub.me/bracket for the voting. But other
How
than
do you
that,
feel? How do you feel about an Ed Sheeran theme song?
I don't know. I do Bing rewards every day because I like to get the Xbox, the Game Pass. And there's like, sometimes on Mondays they do like this, either or trivia thing where like you can get the answers online, whatever. You can just, it encourages you to use Bing and whatever.
Yep.
But it's like, which of these songs did Ed Sheeran write? And like, he writes all these songs that like, I don't really know. Like, I know The Shape of You, I know a couple of his songs, but he's written so many that just like other people that I like have sung. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. I always forget that too. Good point, dude. That like
I think he's written like multiple like Taylor Swift songs.
Yep,
Like he's there's a
right.
bunch of things that he's out there that
I totally forgot. You're 1,000% right, and so it might not sound like an Ed Sheeran song. You know what I mean? Like it'll just be like some random pops. Very good point. The drifting away from hip hop though is kind of weird to me. Is my main thoughts.
I mean, he is international. I was gonna say it's not international, but he is international. It's just that like the drifting away from it does feel like it should be Latin based or hip hop, right? Like it should feel of a certain kind. His like kind of indie
pop,
folky pop, whatever doesn't quite gel, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll give him a shot. I'm open to it. I'm just not as excited about it as if like it's like Wiz Khalifa or any of these guys or like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Cool. I know.
I mean, if he has a song, fine, that's fine. I just don't know if I want him to be the song.
That's also what I'm saying. Yep. 100%. Yep.
Speaking of those movies, though, is Dwayne Johnson in either part of Fast X?
No.
Do we call it? Are we calling it? I have this mental like hurdle I try to get over each time, and I don't know what to do. Are we calling it Fast X or Fast 10? Like it's written Fast X, but do we call it Fast X? Or do we call it Fast 10?
Oh, we have to watch that Corden Vin Diesel interview to figure out what he called it. He's gonna be like the movie, like like use some weird term for it that doesn't exist. We like the franchise.
Let's see what he says. But even he was like toward the end there, like not consistent, right?
Well, yeah, for Fast and that member, like Fast Saga, F9.
James Corden calls it Fast 10.
Okay.
Vince has 2 films. Part 1, Part 2. Vin being very cagey about whether it's the end or not.
Really?
He won't say no. I think that's what Reaction Rock was saying. Everybody wants to know, he says. Vin wearing very tight white slacks and like a kind of a loose sleeveless black t-shirt, which is, kind of cool looking. He can pull it off, whatever.
The inverse.
But about the song, James Corden's like, would you do the song? He's like, depends on when it comes out. And Vin's like, that sounds like a yes to me, and just he gets up. So I don't think he's actually doing it.
Okay.
So yeah, who knows?
He didn't call it 10 or X?
So James Corden said Fast 10, and he's like, is at the end, there going to be more? He's like, it's 2 parts. Part 1, Part 2.
Okay.
So anyway, that could all change. Remember, it was hashtag F9, hashtag Fast9, F9,
Saga.
the Fast Saga.
Yep.
Why can't we be like England, the Fast and the Furious 9? I don't know.
No idea.
The final thing to do before we take a break is the Fast and the Furious minute. Too Fast, Too Furious, minute 66. This is a very exciting minute. I have 2 different titles here. Either Traffic Jam on the Open Seas or, Brian, get a lock for your door.
What are you doing here?
Brian, they're gonna kill you. I heard him telling Enrique and Roberto. Once you finish the run, they're putting a bullet in your head.
You sure you heard him right?
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Baron's boys is out. Oh, I see what they're looking for. Your little girlfriend here.
They don't know I'm here. I snuck out.
What the hell are they doing here then?
I don't know. Maybe they're guessing.
Hey, go stall. Go stall, Victor. Check her, homie. Check her.
In this minute, day transitions to night. Nope. Have that written down wrong. Night transitions to day as we cut to Brian's houseboat. Monica wakes up Brian to let him know that Verone plans to kill Brian and Roman after they finish the job. Roman also enters Brian's houseboat to let him know that Enrique and Roberto are outside. Roman and Monica verbally snipe at each other a little bit. Brian sends Roman outside to stall Enrique and Roberto. Roman tells Brian to check Monica as the minute ends. So I'm wondering here.
Go ahead.
We talked about how Roman is sleeping inside, Brian's sleeping on the boat. That seems pretty much confirmed here, right?
Yep.
Roman is obviously awake and hears Roberto and Enrique outside. Is like, oh shit, I gotta tell Brian. Goes in the front door. Monica, we learn later, snuck in through the skylight in the bathroom or whatever, probably.
Yes, that's a good guess.
Why didn't she use the front door? Like, if Roman used the front door, why didn't Monica? What time is this? Why is everyone awake except for Brian? Why does Brian sleep in khakis? What is going on?
Yeah, I always imagined that they were kind of alluding to that she was there, just because it happened so fast in the movie when you don't watch it minute by minute. You know what I mean? Like, and rewind and rewind and rewind. Because it kind of, with how she's dressed, she's kind of, wet, like she was there. The way Brian is kind of, shirtless in the bed, it feels like a Mia situation. But I think we can, confirm now that we watched it for the minute over and over again that she was out. She sneaks in through the top to try to kind of not be seen in case anybody is following her. I think she has suspicion that Carter's following her, so she sneaks in, doesn't use the front door to not arise suspicion from Carter. I think that she is, this is just a guess, that she is sweaty because she was on a run.
Do you think she's sweaty or she's showered? I guess sweat. I guess on a run because she's dressed athletically, right?
Kind of, not really, but kind of. And she's soaked, so I think it was she was supposed to be sweaty from a run, and she's oh, I'm gonna go on a run, and then runs by Brian's boathouse knowing that he's there, jumps into it, being tailed, to make her look like sweaty, they just like soaked her too much, and she looks like she just got like drenched.
Because she looks like she got out of the shower. I mean, she's wearing like a t-shirt that's rolled up like right below her breasts, and she's got like the black sort of short athletic shorts on, and she's holding a towel. So it's either running or maybe swimming or just out of the shower. Like any of those could be, but she is drenched in a way that like the towel is not working.
Are you saying that there's a possibility that she was there and took a shower after?
I don't think so, because
it feels like she just came in, right? Like
it feels like she just came in. So this is again, I don't think you pick up on this. You definitely pick up on this. We've picked up on this because we've talked about this scene before. I don't think you realize how dumb it is until you watch it the way we're watching it for this.
Yes, yeah.
But Brian, a former cop, should be aware of his surroundings, right?
Yep.
Lying in bed, hears someone walking around the boat, and like sort of like opens his eyes in a way like, Mom, I'm not actually awake. Like, what are you doing in here?
Yep.
And then rolls over and doesn't freak out, like doesn't draw a gun. Is just like, oh, you're here. But it's not like he knows it's Monica. Like he wakes up confused, like someone's here. I don't know who it is. Plus, if Monica had slept over, like if they had hooked up, he would not be in khakis.
Like he rolls over, puts khakis back on, but no shirt, and then lets her take a shower. Like, yeah, that doesn't really make too much sense, right? I can't tell. I still can't tell. What do you think is like the ultimate? Like, what actually? So you think that like she just snuck into the boat?
I
Not
think
that
so.
she
Well,
was
so
on
also
the boat,
we
because
know
there's another possibility that she was like on the boat already, and he's like dozing, and he hears her open the shower door. But why would she present it like she comes in?
Because I also think like we just saw the last scene was him at the poker game, and he goes to sleep. It's not like Monica's not there, so there would be like a real leap. So okay, so if Monica was there from the night before, why would she tell him the next morning that Carter's trying to kill him?
Or she showed up the morning. But I'm saying also, like, why would you like show up? Why would you have hooked up with him and then be like, come out of the shower and go, Brian, I got something to tell you. They're going to kill you.
Yeah.
You
so
know what I
I think
mean?
the most likely thing, yes. I think we're agreeing here.
Yeah.
So that he goes to bed alone.
Yes.
In khakis for some reason.
Yep.
No shirt.
No shirt, just
She
khakis.
comes in through a back door or the skylight in the bathroom
feels
or
like,
whatever.
Yeah. Soaked.
For whatever reason, whatever unknown reason.
Yeah.
Warns him at the same time that Roman comes in, because he is seen from inside Tej's garage.
That these guys are
Roberto
stalking
and
around
Enrique
the garage, yes.
Yes. But they've also they're somehow outside, but not outside Brian's boat yet. So like Roman sees them in a place, or he hears them pull up or something, and is able to get to Brian before they get to Brian, and also get outside to stall them.
And
so,
when he approaches, he sees Monica there and thinks that they hooked up and says like, oh, you got your little girlfriend here or whatever, right?
Them fighting has got to stop. Like,
Who?
I understand that Roman is tired of Brian getting in trouble over females, but like it's so weird. Like, we don't need the conflict here. So it also feels like he's either in love with Monica or Brian, or just like it feels like you're trying to break them up, like you're shitty or whatever. Because like he and Monica are just like yelling at each other, and this is not the first time. Like all movie long, they've been like sort of nitpicking.
Who?
Roman and Monica.
What? When did Roman and Monica argue in this? Oh, the just stall them and like this stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
In this minute, yeah, because he goes, oh, I see what they're looking for. Your little girlfriend here. And she's like, I snuck out. And then, he's like, what are they doing here? That like he's treating her shitty. And she's like, I don't know, maybe they're guessing.
Roman's just mad because Roman finds her very attractive, and Brian, and she clearly has like eyes for Brian.
So you think he's in love with her? It's not
like even in love. He's just like infatuated with her.
He's jealous.
Yeah, he's infatuated with her. He was like, oh man, like look at this hot girl. Like I'm gonna get her because like Roman thinks he's like this, mega stud in his head. Right. And then like Brian does essentially nothing, and she's like, I'll ride with him and like all this other stuff. So like he's getting irritated that his like buddy's like stealing the girl that he has like a mild crush on. That's why he's reacting, but she's never shown Roman any interest at all. She just constantly shits on him.
Right. Okay.
That's the dynamic I feel I'm picking up.
But this is not the first time that he has like been shitty about her or to her. Like it seems like he has just been condescending to the fact that she and Brian are together, to both Brian and to Monica, And it's just like, come on, like we're big.
Yeah,
on
that's
this.
not gonna make her like you. It's just
Right.
it's just like a petty, stupid boy thing that would be like, I'm just gonna be grumpy that you like the other boy, and you're like, okay, fine, whatever.
And it's not like in the whole like pickup artist thing of it all or whatever, where
He's just grumpy about it.
He's not
like, just
negging
being
her
petty.
because like she's with somebody, right? So it's like, what are you doing, my man?
Yeah, and also like Brian and Monica are pretending to keep this professional.
Yes, even though
Everybody sees it, but I mean they're pretending like they haven't done anything like weird yet. You know what I mean?
right. But we have spent this entire minute on a boat in a new scene. So what did you notice? There's a lot of things going on in the background. Maybe some of Tej's stuff, maybe some of Brian's stuff. But what's happening in this scene?
I think this is fully Brian's stuff, and he lives in a total bachelor pad, and it is awesome. It's like surfboards, backseat of a car. He has the TV on some rims instead of having a table or anything. There's just oil filters and air filters mixed in with food on the counter. Like, none of it makes any sense, but it's awesome, and I really enjoy it. But I took, like, a pretty extensive inventory, I think you can see.
Is there anything weird or of note or not really?
I can't figure out what the poster is in the background. It looks like it should be like a movie poster for like an 80s rock movie. Or you know what I mean? Like it has like big like girls that are like, you know, half naked but also like look like they were about to play guitars and kind of look like kiss a little bit. You know, like weird things like that. Nothing super duper weird, just a weird combination of things. Like when you see all of it together, you're like, that's just like a weird combination of stuff. The TV on the car rim, I think, was like the most interesting thing that I caught.
What was in that safe house? Was it a TV or was it a microwave? What was really filthy?
The TV was really, really gross. It was a white TV that had like handprints all over. It was like brown, remember?
So the slapped roof of a microwave was the scene. It was the cha-cha-cha scene, right? Like that was...
Yeah, that was the popcorn one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So this is now 2 movies in a row where TV has been in a weird place or a notable or noteworthy for one reason or another.
Kind of. But it also feels like that actually feels very authentic, right? Like if you're like a guy that's a car guy and you have like rims and and like all these fucking, he has so many oil filters. Like you only change how often is he changing the oil in the car? And why does he keep the oil filters and the air filter inside the boathouse when Tej has a whole ass garage right next to him? So like he must have like taken them out of the garage, brought them into the boat, shut them in with him without a locked door because Monica just walks in. So what was the point of that? It doesn't make any sense.
Don't know. I was looking, as you were talking, I was looking at the minute to see the poster on the wall, and it looks, so the poster is like square, so I think I would guess based on that, it's like cover art, like an album cover art, maybe?
Like an old CD, like you fold out the inside of the CD type situation?
But there's no text on it that I can see.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, me neither.
It's glary and it's not easy to read. The only thing I can see is that there's like a woman sitting on a car, and the car looks like it's made of chrome or something, right? Like,
Yep. That was me too. Like I couldn't find anything to distinguish it to try to figure out what it was, because it's like woman on car poster, right? Like what are you gonna fucking find there? Like,
right?
I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nice to be in a new place. I guess the next minute we're going to be outside. They're going to be the confrontation outside as Monica sneaks away. But
I wanted to find out what boat it is. I should look more into that and get the I was trying to get the numbers off the side. It's just very, very hard to read. There's like a lot of like squiggles, like that could be S's, could be 5s, and I was like, hopefully we just get a better shot from the outside of like the boat number, and then from there, I'm sure I could find out what boat it is.
Yeah, because like, we do get a great external shot of the boat, like from back to front, right? Like we see the whole thing, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Where so much of this movie is, or these movies are just like, nobody needs to know what this is. It's just a boat. It's like, it's a shitty little boat. Like, we're like, no, give us the boat. Like, let us see the boat.
Yeah, and I want to find, like, the fucking number of it so I can find which boat it was. Exactly.
The music in this scene is Houseboat Visitors by David Arnold, which is a great another thing, because it's just like, yeah, we got Brian here, we got Monica here, we got Roberto, we got Enrique, all these people. But, Joe, the trivia question, what do you want to ask? Because I don't have any ideas yet. What do you want to ask for this trivia question this minute?
I kind of want to ask something about why Brian's sleeping in khakis, but I can't figure out a question for it. You know what I mean? Like, what's like?
We could ask when Brian when Monica wakes Brian up, whatever. What is he wearing?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of like other what is it like Lightning McQueen pajamas and like you know.
We could say Lightning McQueen. We could just say just boxers or boxer briefs. We could say like basketball shorts. We could say
okay.
So when Monica
I liked it. Do you like that? Is that okay? This seems like kind of an easy one, but it's also weird.
No, what's weird about it feels like the more things in the background that you have to observe, the harder it is to come up with a trivia question.
Yeah, I agree.
Because things don't really happen in this minute. There's just a lot to see.
Yep, that's fair. Ultimately, I would like to ask the question like why is Monica wet or whatever? But there's no answer. Or
we could ask if we want to have an actual question about the minute. We could say, what news? Why does Monica show up to Brian's houseboat? And it's because she knows that Carter's going to kill them. She's warning Brian that Carter wants to kill him.
Yeah, but the other answers I want to put in there to be she was hooking up with Brian, or she was just getting out of the shower. We can't definitively say yes or no.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, so they're all technically could be right. We think that she just came in, but Roman reacts like she has been there. We see Brian wake up, but they could have been canoodling, and then they wake up, and she gets a shower. I don't know.
When Monica wakes Brian up in his houseboat, what is Brian wearing? Lightning McQueen pajamas, ka-chow, only boxer briefs, only khaki pants, or sweatpants, or only sweatpants?
That's beautiful. I like it.
All right. Do you like either of these titles more? Either Traffic Jam on the Open Seas or Brian Get a Lock for Your Door?
I like Brian Get a Lock for Your Door better.
Okay. All right, Joe, let's take a break and let's come back and let's talk about Tokyo Drift.
Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. This is episode number 246, brought to you by Cell 108 Productions. What is Tokyo Thief? Tokyo Thief is a stealth game set in modern Tokyo. Shout out to that game and that company.
Well, shout out to that game and that company. Welcome back to Too Fast, Too Forever. With us tonight, we have a video editor and, exciting to us and to the podcast, one of the masterminds, the creators, the founding members of Racer Trash. We have Alex Jacobs. Hello, Alex.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. And I knew that you were going to pick this movie, but I'm still glad that you are here for Tokyo Drift because I think we love the same things about it.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm a big fan of this one. I made if you're Racer Trash fans, I made the sleepwave out of it, which is just the drift date. But I made the drift date about 6 or 7 minutes long and very vibey. Because that's my favorite scene in maybe any movie. That's hyperbole, but yeah, it's one of the great.
It's so good, and
truly one of the great love scenes is the drift date.
It was either right before I reached out to you or as I reached out to you. I looked on the Racer Trash Discord and I just searched for Fast and Furious, and I remember seeing something, and I don't remember. I could have done my homework and gotten the exact quote, but I remember somebody was like, "Are you ever going to wave Tokyo Drift?" And you said, "Well, I don't think it would be better than the actual movie," or something like that. You're like, you had such reverence for this movie, and I was like, "Yeah, you get it. It's hard to top this."
Yeah. It was definitely my favorite of the franchise, but I don't know. My relationship with this franchise has been kind of on the rocks anyway. But I was watching it again last night, and yeah, man, it just struck me how it seems like it has a lot of really good visual storytelling because all the music in it rules.
Yep.
Basically across the board, all the needle drops are correct, and I realized the movie works even better when there's no dialogue in it at all, and it's just visual storytelling. And I have to wonder if that came in the edit or what, because the whole opening of the movie is like a silent film without the music of him showing up and going to his high school and seeing the bullies and doing
Yeah.
It really sets it bails on dialogue very easily, and it seems to be for the best every time it does that.
I noticed the music this time, but also the when Sean says, "What do you mean drift?" and then we just hear the tires before we see it. It's okay, that's what we mean drift. You haven't heard this before. This is new to the audience and to you, Bama Boy. So welcome to the show.
Bama Boy. Yes, it's funny that it's my favorite one because it easily has the least charismatic lead of it's in spite of that, it's still I love it quite a bit. But yeah,
but
Lucas
he's
Black
charming
is
in his lack of charm, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's one of those he should have been a character actor, and he kind of is now, or if he is, I'm not. I haven't
he's
seen
on
him
what is it,
NCIS?
He's on
Las Vegas though,
hundreds
a spin-off of NCIS.
Oh, that seems like a good gig for him. I'll take that. It just they're pushing him as this heartthrob romantic lead in anything is kind of feels like a mistake to me. but I'm not saying I don't like him. Like, I do enjoy him. It's just funny that he is supposedly carrying this movie, because who's actually carrying the movie is Han, who like is
1,000%, yeah.
alone has enough charisma to compensate for Bama Boy, and just like, even though he checks out of the movie at a certain point, is like, yeah, he really carries this movie on his back.
Truly. So you mentioned your sort of your relationship with the franchises on the rocks. What's your history with the Fast and Furious movies? Did you see the first one in theaters? Like, what was the first one you saw? When did you see it? How many have you seen them all?
Yeah.
Like, what you and Fast and Furious? Give us a rundown.
Mm-hmm. I saw them. I've seen almost all of them in theaters. Actually, the one that I skipped was this one. I've never seen Tokyo Drift in theaters.
Okay.
It's very funny because I don't know why at the time I was young. I don't know, but I just didn't check it out. Which is funny because I did see Better Luck Tomorrow in theaters, which is canon in the which someone has declared canon. And I loved Better Luck Tomorrow. Me and my friends were like teenagers. We saw that movie in theaters and walked out like, what the fuck was that? Like, it was like the best movie we had seen. And then, I don't know, for whatever reason, I just didn't check this movie out. And then in the years since, whenever I rewatch this franchise, it's like clearly my favorite one. I saw them all. I mean, the first one, the cultural impact of the first one can't really be overstated. I was in like 6th grade when the first one came out, and it was all we talked about. Like, and I'm not even a car guy. I don't have a nerd brain for cars. I don't really know makes and models or any of that. But like, that movie was just undeniable. It was like omnipresent when it dropped. And I always kind of believed in the franchise. I was always saying. I remember saying after the third, there was like a long time between the third and the fourth one, and I was like, they got to bring back Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. It would rule. Like, don't tell me that wouldn't rule. And they did, and it like I was always kind of a cheerleader for this franchise. But then the last few, I've really just been I don't know. I'm a little tired. Like it's very sad that Paul Walker died, obviously, and that may have been the death knell for the franchise. I'm happy it's still going, but it seems like it would be in everybody's best interest for the next one to bomb. I know it won't, but like Vin Diesel, obviously, his hubris is causing a problem. There's got to be something. There needs to be some kind of repercussions to the fact. I suppose losing Justin Lin and having him replaced by Louis Leterrier is should be a clear like sign that something is going wrong. But
right,
I don't think that he's getting that message because he's still just posting his vlogs about how this is going to be the best one ever. It's going to win an Oscar, and you just like want him to please sit down.
Well, but even before that, and like it's hard to not be concerned with the way that things have gone. We try to be positive. We try not to bash Vin too much, but like you chase away The Rock, and then you chase away Justin Lin, and just like like come like let's figure something out here, right? Like it's something.
All roads lead home, man, for sure.
And it's and I honestly like I'm happy that we're gonna get a new original movie from Justin Lin instead. I love he made my favorite of the new Star Trek movies like Head and Shoulders. I love Star Trek Beyond compared to the other ones.
What was the last original movie he made? I don't even know the answer to that question. Was it all the way back?
Making the Game? It has to be, right?
Oh,
that's even like a sequel to Game of Death. Kind of.
Yeah, and he did
what
he did that weird boxing movie, right, with James Franco. That like was it called? That like or am I thinking of? This. I think I'm confusing it with Black Dahlia. I get them mixed up, but like the Annapolis is this movie with.
So the boat movie Annapolis, with James Franco and Tyrese and Jordana Brewster. So he's basically taking Fast and Furious and putting it in on a boat or something, right? Or...
Yeah. So I didn't see it. I don't.
Wait, it's not on a boat.
It's like a Naval Academy movie. Everything about it was not interesting to me. So I didn't.
It is a boxing movie. I didn't doubt you, but it like the title Annapolis. I always thought there was a boat on the poster. There's no boat on the poster. There's planes on the poster, and it's about boxing. What the? Fuck?
I have no idea. I did not see it. I don't know, but I do. That said, I really like him as a filmmaker. I think if you haven't watched Star Trek Beyond recently, it is like the good one of those. You go back and, in my opinion, if you go back and watch the JJ ones, it's like a short. You're like, this was acceptable for the time. That one, Star Trek Beyond, just feels like a fun adventure with a fun crew. It feels like a good episode of one of the shows in the best way, which I really like about it.
Well, it's amazing that J.J. Abrams gets to make 2/3 of a franchise and consistently whiffs on making the good one, right?
Yes. Always, that's so crazy. But he's my only theory about him is that he's got to be amazing in meetings. Like, there's no way a meeting with JJ doesn't go great. Like, that has to be what's making this happen. I don't know.
Or people just love that bad robot title card. It's like, I want that on my movie. Let's get that in here.
Yeah, it's true. Because I got into Star Trek during the pandemic. I was never a Star Trek guy, and I watched all of like Next Generation. And you go back and watch the JJ Star Trek movies, and the fucking Enterprise is always falling apart and all this chaos is happening, and you're like, this would not have been acceptable. Picard's Enterprise, like, this is crazy. Everything about it doesn't work. Or even the Kirk from the movies. I haven't watched the original series, but I watched the original cast movies, and you're just like, it's all just noise. It's so much bombast, and Star Trek is supposed to be pretty boring in general. It feels like it's supposed to be everybody's good at their jobs and chaos doesn't happen.
This might be tough. I think I did warn you to prep you with this, but do you have rankings of the Fast and Furious movies by how much you like them from favorite to least favorite?
Yeah, I can do that. I did a note for that. Wait, let me see if I still agree with this because it changes every day. Yeah. For number 1 is Tokyo Drift for sure. Okay. Number 2 is Fast 5. That was very thrilling when Fast 5 dropped. We were all happy about it. That one was the surprise, like that we were all like, because the fourth one did pretty well, but it wasn't quite like the franchise was saved. And then Fast 5 just came out like a fucking Fast 5 was great. Furious 6 is the next one for me. That was also very fun. I saw that in the rumble seats, whatever you call that, in D-Box.
Ooh, like the 4D or whatever.
Yeah, and they vibrated when the cars turned on. They danced with the opening credits. Whoever programmed the dance, they deserve a raise. They did a great job. After that, I would go with the original, the Fast and the Furious. Cool. Then the fourth one, Fast and Furious.
Okay, that's pretty high, but that's
really high.
One that, it slowly inches up. At least I think Joe's too. Like
it has. Yeah. I appreciate it more and more. I didn't like it too much at the time, but I saw the promise. I was like, I'm glad that he gets to make another one of these because obviously it was getting there. But when I rewatch it, I like it more. Maybe I'm more forgiving with it. I don't know, but it's
same.
Like that really was like kind of the era where like 4 through 6 is what it was like. Quietly like getting exciting to be, you were cheering for this underdog franchise. I don't know. Now I'm kind of tired of it because it's gotten too successful and it's not like it's not the underdog anymore. There's nothing about it.
In a way,
it doesn't need our support.
Yeah, in the underdog sense, like it's underdog compared to Marvel, but like in turn, like every movie makes $1 billion. Like it's still wildly successful. It has more big names, maybe even than Marvel movies, right? Like it's not the underdog, but in a way. Maybe just because like we're too close to it and like we just see the feedback and like people hate these movies. They're like, I can't believe they're making another one. In a way that I feel like people are just like, enough Marvel, we get it, but like people don't like hate those movies, but people hate these movies. So I feel like as much as the movie that makes $1 billion can be, it's still kind of an underdog, but it's not like, you're right. It's not like it was 10, 15 years ago.
Well, especially at that time too. What was it, like 2011 or whenever? I forget when exactly. The
5 came out in 2011. Yeah.
Yeah, that was Fast 5. And when you think about what other franchise movies were coming out at the time, Marvel was happening, but like there was like Divergent or like what, I don't know. Like it felt like Hunger Games was still going strong, and that Fast and the Furious franchise was like head and shoulders the most diverse thing that was being put out at that level, and it was successful. So it was like, and it took how many years? Like now. Even now, I mean, they're not great about it now, but even now it's like they're finally kind of getting the memo, like, okay, diversity, yes, like we should maybe shoot for that. But like this was happening, 11 years ago? And that made it kind of this thing. It was very exciting to see it do so well. And it was just, they were just well-made, fun movies. They're like I said about Tokyo Drift, like there's visual storytelling in Fast 5 that really works, even as hammy as the dialogue is. Like when the camera pans over to reveal the bridge, like the train's heading for a bridge, you're like, everyone in the theater gasps. Like that moment works. Like, so that makes them it's very exciting just to watch competently like constructed action movies. Yeah. And I felt like they kind of lost that later on. Like I think they did their best with Fear. I guess I should continue my ranking. Sorry, I'm
no, keep going. Please talk.
Deeply,
you're doing great.
Deeply ADHD brain, so I go off on a lot of tangents. But like I don't know, man. Like 7, I think they did the best they could with 7, given the circumstances. It's really hard to avoid that dark cloud, right? Yep. Like that is just hanging over the whole thing. But like still, it felt like kind of the rhythm was off a bit. Something wasn't quite connecting. Okay, my next is Fast 9, which I guess, I don't know. I would actually maybe put Fast 9 lower. As much as I was glad to see Justin Lin back and it is competently made, I felt nothing watching Fast 9, truly. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to revise my ranking right now and say 7. 7 comes next, and then below that is Fast 9, which... That was my second movie back in theaters. I was like going back to theaters, but again, I had moved away, so I like just went alone to like a theater in a small town in Wisconsin, and it was just not. I just kind of stared at it until it ended, and then I like left. Like I don't know. I don't care. Well, what they've done, the other thing about Vin Diesel is that because in his role as producer, Dom has to be the most important character in each of these stories, and he's the least interesting character now. He was the most interesting character in the first movie, for sure, but like now he's just the strongest, wisest guy.
Yep.
Like it's too, and the movie's almost like they're designed to kind of fetishize him or like make him this, like, you know, they're all in awe of him. Yeah, fetishize is definitely the wrong word, but like it's like they're all the movies like look up at Dom as this god, and like that makes him. It's not interesting. You know he's going to get out of every scrap. They should allow themselves to like make one of them be about, I don't know, Ludacris and Tyrese or something. They should let them kind of. He's never going to let Dom be one of the lesser people in the ensemble, so that's why I'm just like never going to care again. And we're doing flashbacks to when his dad died, and I'm just like, this. I'm not feeling a thing here. I would love to be feeling something, but this really just doesn't mean anything to me anymore. So that was how I felt about Fast 9, which was well made, very well constructed, but I just didn't. They're also kind of doing the Ocean's 11 thing a little too much now. Like I said about Dom's going to get out of everything, but sometimes it's not him, and sometimes it's like, oh, the SWAT team is arresting them. What's going to happen? And then they're alone in the truck with the SWAT team, and the leader takes off her mask, and it's Cardi B. Yeah. Hey, hey, Cardi B, and so it's just that Ocean's 11 thing of like, oh, well, he's on it too, and it doesn't. I don't know. Nothing means anything. I feel no. Kind of ironically, in a franchise where we lost Paul Walker, I feel no danger for any of the characters. I don't think we're going to lose anybody.
Well, that's the thing. Like they keep adding people, and we say almost every time that like we have this conversation that we need stakes. We need somebody like the threat of dying. And now instead of people dying, we're like, okay, so when is Giselle going to come back? Because we never saw a body. So like instead of people at risk of dying, it's like people are at risk of coming back to life and just crowding up the screen more. Like, which we would love. I would love to have Gal Gadot in the back of the
Same.
Movies. But I'd also love a movie where like Roman or Tej or someone just like gets killed. It's like, oh my god, like people can die.
Yeah, that would bring the stakes back. But it's like it's almost Marvel is an apt comparison. They are comics now. It's like nobody really dies except for Paul Walker, who they didn't kill his character off. He's just
and then they might bring him back too with CGI or whatever, right?
God, I hope not. That's ghoulish to me every time. I can't abide that. Okay, anyway, my last dead bottom is Fate of the Furious. I was not a fan of Fate of the Furious. I think that's probably the least well constructed of any of them. Oh wait, where did I put Too Fast, Too Furious somewhere? Right? Did I even mention that?
No, I missed it. You missed Too Fast. Where would you have that?
That was in the 5th spot. I would probably put that a little lower now, but I do enjoy that movie. I have I have like nostalgia for that movie. I remember watching it in theaters and just like that, knowing that it was kind of bad and dumb, and we were all going to go see it, but like enjoying it. I like it when Tyrese eats James Remar's lunch. That always gets a laugh out of me. That's my lunch. So that's great. That's a great moment.
We are doing in the intro to every episode. We're doing the movies minute by minute. So we did the entire first movie, and we're stuck in. We're not stuck. Well, maybe that's the right word, because we're in the middle of 2 right now, and it feels interminably longer than doing it the first movie. Like it just feels.
Yeah, it is. So that movie makes you sweat a bit, and like who's that actor from his? He was in Dazed and Confused, who plays like a Cuban drug lord in Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, Carter Verone is the guy who's in Yellowstone now. What's his name?
Yeah, just like a clearly an Irish actor. I don't like Irish American actor.
Cole Hauser. Yeah.
Yes, Cole Hauser. Absolutely. Yeah, I just watched Dazed and Confused recently, and I was like, that's man. I remember seeing him play a drug lord. Doing that rat in the bucket thing. I don't know. I think Too Fast, Too Furious is pretty ridiculous, but I like it. It's hard for me to come up with reasons, like compelling reasons, to explain why I think it deserves that high of a spot. But I still enjoy that stretch of the franchise. It's really the last few where I'm just like I'm tired of this now, man. I'm not rooting for you guys.
Can they bring you back? Is there anything they could do to bring you back? Like
I really don't know.
10...
Well, it sounds like you're still going to watch them, right? But I think Joe's question is still valid. Like, what would get you excited about? Like, if something happened in the next movie, like, what's your ideal version of Fast 10?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. My ideal thing, I think Fast 10 needs to bomb. It needs to not make money. I know that it's going to, but like, it just needs to like. They need to take a hit because it's too.
What if like the first half of it, because like Vin has said like, oh, it's going to be 2 parts. Like, what if the first half just tanks?
That would be fun.
I don't know, like how could it? Like, there's no.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how it could, but like, what do you like? Do they finish it? Like, what if it like bombs so bad that there's just like never a conclusion?
I just saw that because I saw Top Gun Maverick. which is why I have to join the Navy. And I think
I salute your service. I'm giving you the little emoji. That's the half a face with the hand above the eyes. Like,
that's the deal.
That emoji.
That unfortunately is the deal. Yeah, when you buy a ticket to Top Gun Maverick, but like there was a trailer for the next Mission Impossible, and the trailer has the title of it as Dead Reckoning Part 1, and I was like, oh, that's a mistake. Like, look, I'm going to see it, but don't call it Part 1. Like, just call the next one something else, and then you get everybody with like a to be continued card. But don't telling us right now that it's the first of a two-parter, I think is just going to make people snicker. So yeah, don't be doing that. I'm sure it'll be good. Anyway, I didn't know Fast 10 was going to be in 2 parts, but I guess that makes sense. But are they going to call it Fast? Like, is it Mega Man X Rules where they're going to go X2, or is it going to be?
We don't know. Like, we don't even know.
We're curious. So, we've been talking about it. Yeah.
He was just on James Corden's show, and we're like, how does he refer to it? He doesn't even actually say it. James Corden calls it Fast 10, but now it's Fast X. We're like, is it Fast X? Because like it felt like until we saw F9 in theaters, we did not know the title of it. And we have a podcast about the franchise. Like, it was so the marketing about it was so confusing.
Even when he was doing the like. What was he? He was showing the trailer. They had this. I don't know if you remember. They had this like big like expo in Miami,
like a month before the lockdown.
Yeah, and they're like, here's the final trailer release, or like maybe even the first trailer release, and they're like, okay, we're gonna do it, and there was like, you know, like a whole like stage and things like that, and Vin Diesel called it at least 4 different things during that presentation.
That makes sense. I mean, from what I hear, he basically just like walk up, like the movies are constructed around him walking up to the writer being like, this should happen, and then they have to like figure that out. Like, that's the level of power he has over them now.
Yeah, we heard that recently too, that like he's like that people pitch him action sequences and like, no, that's not going to work, or that is going to work, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's wild.
And he didn't have that kind of power on the first movie, so I don't know. No. I think he might have his hooks in this a little too much, even though yes, it is built around him, but like he's become the least interesting part of it now to me. It feels like things have gone south. I'm happy for the run that it had, but maybe they should have called it around 7 or 8. I don't know.
Like years ago now, probably like 3 years ago, we had a guest on to talk about Furious 7, and she kind of broke our brains in terms of how really truly disruptive the franchise's narrative was by Paul dying. Like, if you think about Fate and you think about the baby on the plane, like, it makes a lot more sense if that's Mia and their baby as opposed to Elena, who hasn't been around in a couple movies, and a baby we didn't know about. And it feels like there was this whole, like, I don't know if they were going to end it after 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, but it felt like there was like a, no pun intended for 6, like a runway toward an end goal.
Yep.
And then he dies, and instead of, you know, ending the franchise, they keep going.
Yeah.
And it's unclear what changed. They say nothing changed, but we're like, that's not possibly true, right? So
no, I mean, it couldn't be. I mean, unless they just didn't have it actually planned out that far ahead, which I would believe. But yeah, his death kind of signaled where the movies started going bad for me, which is I never consider, he was never my favorite part of these movies at all. But like, especially when the cast started fighting in the press, I started thinking like, man, was he must have been like the peacekeeper or something, like, because now they're all mad at each other. That's like when Tyrese was like posting videos. Yeah, it just seemed I don't know. It seems like it's sort of a shame that it got that bad, and now you have the Rock in the press calling Vin Diesel manipulator and shit. You're like, oh, man,
yeah,
this is,
we had a long time thought that this was just gonna be like a fake beef that was like some kind of like wrestling promo. We're like, look, The Rock has to be back for 10, right? Like, he has to come back. He has to rejoin.
There's no way he doesn't.
There's no way he doesn't. And then, like, as this goes on, we're like, nah, it seems like it's gone pretty south between all of them. So
I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if other cast members left too. Like, we're going to be wondering, like, that guy was not in it very much, and like maybe some people are just going to have a few scenes and then disappear. I don't know. It just seems like Vin Diesel's pushing everybody off the hill unintentionally.
That's something we never even thought about, Joey. Is like Vin could, like, they're still shooting. Vin could very much like push somebody else out of the movie,
or rage quit himself.
Yeah.
Oh no,
I don't know.
Making too
I don't
much
think
money.
he would do that. Yeah, he has too much power. So like, it's obvious that they're deferring to him on everything. So like, when's it supposed to come out?
Next April, I think.
Oh,
Either
fuck.
April or May. Like we're well under a year from now. Like we're about 9 months or so from now.
Yeah, a lot can happen in that time. They're like, it's entirely possible that they will still be working on this movie like weeks out from release. So yeah, it's.
You think so? Like, do you think that's definitely like they're not gonna have it wrapped up? They're still gonna be like editing and doing all
I
this shit
think,
at the end?
yeah, on a movie of this scale, I would say yes. In my experience, yes, that is possible and actually common. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's a lot of.
I want to
things
see
I'm not allowed
the Vin cut of the movie,
Oh,
which is just
yeah.
gonna be all Dom scenes, nobody else in the movie, just
Yeah.
Dom monologues, right?
I mean, that's what it seems like it's going to be. And that's what in his heart that seems to be what the franchise is. That's what he's trying to bring people back, but he just wants it all to revolve around him. And he's like, it's about family, but he's like the head of it. I don't know. Yeah, he's the reason that people are leaving. So I don't know. I can't root for it anymore. I was rooting for it before, but I'm not. I just I don't think this franchise needs my help. But I love I still love Tokyo Drift. I love making that sleepwave for it. I love talking about this franchise. I've watched them all, so like it's a part of my movie going experience. But I don't know. Yeah, 9 was kind of a depressing experience for me. I didn't even have the excuse of like, well, this was poorly directed or like it was all there. I should have enjoyed it, but I just didn't feel a thing. And I was like,
No,
well,
I get it.
that off the list.
And it's a movie that like we loved, and then we kind of got burnt out on because we scheduled way too many of them in a row, and then I think it's coming back up. But I do understand why someone would not like it. It's
valid.
a lot. It's a lot.
Like I found more joy in like I have more joy thinking about Too Fast, Too Furious. That's why that's higher. Like, that's just like, yeah, as much as that one is more of a chore to get through. The fact that they brought in Louis Leterrier and they're like just gonna. I don't know. It all feels much more homogenous now. It doesn't feel.
Let's focus on a good movie. Let's focus on Tokyo Drift. Before we start talking about this movie in general, we have a question that we're kicking off every conversation this lap with. We are planning, because in between the Fast and Furious conversations we're having when we watch these movies, we are doing heist movies, because every lap is a theme, and this is our heist lap. And so we're watching heist movies in between. So for each episode, we're starting off by picking someone from a character from the movie to join a heist team. We don't know the exact job yet, but if you had to pick someone from this movie, a character from Tokyo Drift, to join a heist crew to take down some aspirational goal, who would you pick from this movie? I think there's an obvious answer, so you can go with that if you want.
Yep.
You can go outside the box, whatever you want to do, but who from this movie would you trust on a heist team to help you take down whatever job you were doing?
I don't know. I have to say, the obvious answer is Han, but in watching it again this time, I was really taken by the Drift King's performance. I actually think that guy's great in this movie. I was like, they should have brought him back. That would have been interesting. He like every scene with him and Lucas Black, he out charismas him like crazy. Like you just your eyes are on him when they're like facing off for sure. Han is the obvious answer. Bow Wow is perhaps a more obvious answer as well. But I'm gonna say the Drift King.
That's a great answer. He was on my short list. I 1000% agree. The only thing is he's like a little bit of a schmuck, right?
Yeah.
Like,
he loses.
Just a tiny bit.
He is dethroned. He loses, but like,
Yeah.
I found myself really all throughout the movie being like, I kind of wish this movie was about him. Like it seems like he would be more, because like that's the other thing about watching the Fast and the Furious movie called Tokyo Drift is they're like, okay, well, how can we make a movie about drifting and make sure that the protagonist is white?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yep.
It feels like you could have easily made this movie without doing that. And it might have been better, even though you're an American studio.
The only issue is that if the heist, and we don't know where this is happening, if it happens in Tokyo, we know that DK can't return because he's honor bound.
He's been exiled
forever.
Yes. Love
Lose
that.
one race and never come back to the city where you've ostensibly spent your entire life. And everyone you know, all the things you love, everywhere, everything.
Yeah.
It's all in Tokyo.
I'm fuzzy on his age too, because he doesn't go to the high school, right? So
No,
he's like,
he doesn't.
Post high school,
but he knows Neela, so he's close.
Early mid-20s. Like I would peg him at like
At
maybe
the most.
22, 24, possibly.
Yeah. I meant to look up that actor. I forgot to do it, but yeah.
He's in like ER now, I think, right?
Oh, really?
Brian T, I think is his name, right?
And he's on like one of these. He plays a doctor on one of these hospital shows.
Oh, that's cool. I'm always happy to hear that an actor got a gig on a show, because that means they're getting paid.
So he is best known for, Chicago Med and the spin-offs.
That's right.
He plays Dr. Ethan Choi.
Yep.
He's in Tokyo Drift, The Wolverine,
Wow.
Jurassic World, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadow. So yeah, I guess his main thing is Chicago Med and its spin-offs. And
I would
then,
not have pegged him for Chicago Med, man. That's crazy. But yeah,
all these people from this movie, they're going and getting these checks. Like it's,
Yeah.
I love it. Get the bag.
Sean,
Yeah.
I'm with you, brother. Yep.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that's fine. Although it was nice to see them again in Fast 9, I'll admit. But like, I liked seeing that it was him and you see him and you see Bow Wow and you see the guy who plays
Earl. Yeah.
who I think he was also in Better Luck Tomorrow. That I was happy to see him.
Jason Tobin. Yeah.
Better Luck Tomorrow is great. I meant to watch that again before this, but I couldn't find it in time. But yeah, I think it might be on some. I want to say it's maybe on the Criterion channel. I don't know if that's just wishful thinking. It's a really cool movie. I mean, if memory serves, but like that, it's funny to me that was placed in the canon of Fast and the Furious because it's such a different kind of movie. It feels it's like such like an art house teen movie.
Yep.
Drift King, I thought he was really I was very taken by his screen presence on this watch. I was like, that guy should, like, that would be a more interesting character to bring back into the fold, I think. Even though, like, especially now that he's lost, he's been humbled, there might be more dramatic possibilities there. When they like first meet and they're doing that face-to-face thing, like, he is just crushing that scene. Like, that guy's absolutely understanding what he's supposed to be doing. As much as you're supposed to root for Bama Boy, you just kind of like, he just looks like this like out of place gorilla. He does not like, what is that man doing there? Like, he doesn't. Yeah. I don't mean to rag on his performance because I do like the actor. I just think he's wrong in the role. I think he was the wrong choice. But a lot of the scenes where he's supposed to be intimidating and assertive, like, they don't work at all just because of the timbre of his voice and like what the accent does to his voice. Just like, oh, I can't. Like, I watched all the Twilight movies. I'd never seen them.
Yes.
I had never seen them, and I was like, it's time. Like, I found them for $1 each on DVD, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, it's time, let's go. And like, every scene that Taylor Lautner is in, like, he obviously has the look. He takes his shirt off and looks beefy and all that, but then he's like, Bella, what do we, and it's just like, you can't take him seriously, and it's really too bad. Like, the whole time watching it, I was like, he really should have smoked cigarettes for about 4 years. Like, don't smoke cigarettes. I know, bad, but yeah, also, like, I think he could have benefited from his voice going down a few notches there, because it's just like, you can't take that seriously. It just doesn't work. I don't know. And I felt the same thing with some of the line deliveries from Bama Boy in this. That's why it feels like he should be in a subservient role, and he is with Han. That's why it feels like the movie could be about Han, should have been about Han. But yeah, he's this gopher who kind of gets better at racing throughout. One of my favorite things about this movie is that it is actually about racing. Most of the movies in this franchise are not about racing, and this one actually is. It's about a character who's not very good at racing. He likes to do it, but he's not good at it, and then he has to get better at it so that he can. You see him get better at it. You watch him learn, and like that, it's like the most functional story of any of the movies in this franchise. Because it really is just about a guy who wants to, learn how to drift so he can defeat his rival, and he does.
Very simple story, and it works, and that's why we love this movie. Joe, who is your pick for the heist crew?
There's the obvious answer of Han, but you know what? I have to go kind of similar to Alex, but I'm gonna go Uncle Kamada.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, Sonny Chiba.
Yeah, I gotta go Sonny Chiba. He's running shit in Japan. He has your connections. He seems intimidating. He can also kind of fly under the radar, but he seems like, I keep picking these older leadership kind of guys in these movies, but I think that's
you're gonna have a whole team of people who have been there before.
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing.
Like the experience. I'm gonna win the championship with the team that's the veterans. That's what I'm gonna do.
I like Sonny Chiba's outfits in this movie.
They're amazing.
Fun role for him. He gets to come in, just do a couple scenes, and just be like, wear furs and lavish, like, just be the boss in every scene. Yeah, good gig, Sonny.
I was so expecting one of you to say Han that I was all queued up with a Twinkie defense, and I was be like, he's the one who can get you whatever you need.
Twinkie's a great choice. He was on my short list too, but
Twinkie is a good choice.
But I'm gonna go with Han because we can't not pick Han for Tokyo
No,
Drift,
somebody has to pick him. I
will
agree.
pick Han. I will take one for the team and pick, the most handsome, charismatic, cool guy in the entire
Chameleon.
franchise. If I have to, I will pick Han.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't need a defense. He's He's
like the
the
coolest
heart.
guy ever.
He's the lifeblood of this movie.
Yep.
He is the one that you root for. He's on screen for so little amount of time, and he leaves last. He's so cool that they literally rewrote the franchise to bring him back in. And like you said, in Fast Five, we know he is the chameleon. He's the one who can like kind of blend into whatever and do whatever, and just whatever job needs to get done, he'll get done. He's got the track record. He's got the leadership within his little group. It's Han.
My only negative I have for Han is that at this point, although we don't know it, Han has, what, $10 million? So I think his motivation might be low.
All of our guys in 5 and beyond are all multimillionaires, right? Like in every one of these movies.
Yeah.
So.
Han also, as we know, has been, we thought he died, but he was in fact, we know now, recruited by the government to be a spy. So
Yeah.
I don't know. He might be
How did you feel about the Han reveal? Can you please tell me how you felt about it?
Big sigh. Yeah, it's like, okay, fine. Yes, that's fine. I know that when he was in the trailer, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
That was more like when I was like, they can't do that. They can't do that. Like I was really like that, like this, like it meant everything that he died. I was acting like you can't just take it back now. But like then by the time I actually saw it in the movie, I was like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever, bring him back. I get it. You want to work with that guy again. I get it. Justin Lin always wants to bring him in. So fine, sure. But it is at that point, it's like, this is X-Men. These are X-Men comics. Like this is nobody is actually going to die unless the actor dies. And like you said, even then, like maybe not. But yeah, that's fine. Whatever. They're all just immortal now. So like I don't know. Yeah, I struggle with my feelings about it because it's very funny for me to act like back around the third or fourth movie, like I was worried about these characters. Like we could lose anyone at any time. Like no, of course I wasn't feeling that, but now it feels so. There are no real stakes. They all have money. Like they're all multimillionaires. They have Michelle Rodriguez is back. Dom got his baby. I was not a fan of Hobbs and Shaw either. I was glad that wasn't included in the whatever the lineup, the ranking. That would be dead.
Well, yeah, you can or not. That's a real divide among people who like. I don't think this is a Fast and Furious movie, or people who love it. It's fun, whatever. It's I don't push. We don't push that one way or the other. It's just if you want to rank it, you can. If not, but yeah. So you're not really a fan of that movie?
No, I saw it in theaters. I don't like the Deadpool movies. That I think was directed by one of the Deadpool directors. I don't know.
Yes, I think so. I think David Leitch did it.
Yeah, it felt very much like a Deadpool movie to me, and I just that tone and the tone of the action and each of the sequences I just didn't really care for. It didn't do much for me. I thought Idris Elba was good in it. I think he's good in everything, but yeah, I found the movie to just be kind of
David Leitch did the John Wick movies, but he also did Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, Atomic Blonde, and Nobody. Like for the most part, like he makes pretty good movies. It's just,
did he do all of the John Wick movies, or when did he tap out?
I don't know. Maybe he just co-directed because Chad Stahelski did them.
There's something about that kind of Deadpool style of action that's I'm hesitant to say CG, like too much CG, because obviously there's so much CG in the Fast and Furious movies, but like it just nothing feels like it has any actual weight. It's a lot of like the long take of Jason Statham fighting guys in that room or something. I don't know. It just doesn't mean anything. Although it's funny to me now too that Louis Leterrier is coming back to direct a Fast and the Furious movie, and Jason Statham is probably not going to be in it. Yeah, after their time on the Transporter together, which I also really liked back when they came out. I remember like seeing Transporter in theaters and liking it a lot.
So let's talk now about Tokyo Drift specifically. This is your favorite movie. I think we talked a lot about reasons why, but favorite moments, favorite scenes, favorite needle drops. Like, what do you love about this movie?
Well, song. I mean, we know the song. The theme song is like everything. The palpable reaction. Have you ever seen that song like hit in public? Have you ever seen people react to that song? It's incredible.
I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever seen like people like hear it like at a bar or something, you know?
Yeah, I have, and it's good. It's every time it comes on, everybody loses their minds. I was like wondering if they even knew if it had anything to do with the movie or if that song just fucking goes. Because like I don't know how many people are huge fans of Tokyo Drift, but
we have like a little thread going on Facebook with our friend of the show, Brian Rodriguez, where every time we hear Danza Kuduro, we film ourselves listening to it because that's
always playing at weddings. Always at weddings.
And when true. I don't know if I talked about it on here or not. Maybe I think I did when I was talking about it. But I was just in Spain for a music festival and I saw DJ Shadow and he played what is it called, 3 days or 4 days or 2 days, whatever the song is from the beginning of this movie. He played that, and I'm like, this is incredible here too. Like, people in that crowd don't know that song as the Tokyo Drift song. I don't think. I'm probably one of the very few people who like, oh yeah, it's from the Tokyo Drift movie. Like, people don't associate it. They're just like, oh, this is a cool DJ Shadow song. But I think I'm with Joe. I don't think I've ever heard the Teriyaki Boyz song hit in public.
Oh,
I need to start playing it. We need to start playing it on Tap Tunes.
Yeah, you got to just drop it at the Touch Tunes jukebox and see what happens.
Did Touch Tunes survive the pandemic? I hope it did.
Oh yeah, I think so. I had a night.
Good.
I had a night where I went out and spent too much money on Touch Tunes because I drank too much, and then probably only heard half the songs. So it's still there, still dangerous. If you go to there's a YouTube, whatever YouTube post of this song is, the comments on it are amazing. I remember that. I would send that link around, and there's like one upload of the Tokyo Drift song that has like hundreds of comments, and they're all like, "When mom lets you hold a shopping cart," or so, you know. Yeah, that's the reactions to that song are very good.
Well, I would say it's definitely it's the song that has been memed the most, like in terms of like TikTok videos or whatever, where you see somebody skidding through snow or ice or whatever. Like, it's always that's the song, right? So yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm also, another reason I think I love this movie is that are we Mario Kart fans?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. So like, I'm not great at Mario Kart, but there's that level that's shaped like Yoshi, where you have to basically be drifting the entire time, because it's just all sharp turns. And I'm great at that level. I always win only at that level and then lose all the other ones in the circuit. Like, I'm not that good at Mario Kart, but I love to be drifting the entire time. It's like just the happiest place I've ever been in my head. So that's like, part of that is, I think that's why the drift date is my favorite. They're all just casually drifting around, and it's like, it feels like it's got to feel like you're lighter than air. Like, that's just where your happy place is. So that's how I noticed too, that they're like, this is DK's mountain. He's the only one who's made it to the bottom. That's the climactic races on DK's mountain. And I started to wonder how directly perhaps this was influenced by Mario Kart. Because I think Donkey Kong Mountain was like that was like N64 era or something. So it did exist. And they're all talking about DK and his mountain. I just quietly wondered why, like how.
I think Justin Lin has some jokes like that in these movies, for himself. I think so. I think he seems like a cool enough guy that tracks. I get it. I think he was like, oh yeah, we'll just call him fucking DK.
Yeah.
And like, we can just go down DK's mountain. Like, that's a fun joke to me.
Yeah, it's good. I love that sequence with the all the flip phones. The vertical video, like, going in and out of the flip phones.
There are a lot of 1080p video, though.
Yes, and also, as we know in the timeline, this is around when Fast 5 was happening. So or after Fast 5, and they all have iPhones in Fast 5. So maybe it's everybody just buys their phones secondhand from Twinkie. So. But I actually think, watching it this time too, I was struck by, because when did this movie come out? It was like
2006.
Okay, 2006, because there are a lot of transitions in this that then, like 5 or 6 years, what was it? I don't know when. When did Scott Pilgrim come out?
2010.
Okay,
because I remember my friends were gonna we're gonna have a Scott Pilgrim 10th anniversary Halloween party, and that was the first year of COVID. They're like, we're not gonna have this Halloween party. So it's 2010.
Well, there were a lot of transitions in this, even in the non-driving scenes, that reminded me of what was so exciting about Scott Pilgrim when we all saw that. It was like, okay, well, wow, look at all this visual, like there's so much visual inventiveness in this. And I realized, like, this, 4 years earlier was doing very similar things, in a lot of, especially in like the first act, the transition to him going to Tokyo and all that. Like, it struck me that this movie was kind of ahead of its time visually, but probably nobody noticed because it was just Fast and the Furious 3, and people were surprised that it wasn't going straight to video.
Well, yeah, and it's also like, and we talked about this before, but it's a sequel to a movie that lost its star and then retained nothing from the second movie. So like, 2 was a hard sell because Vin Diesel's gone, and then 3 is like, oh, there's nobody here, and it's a different country, and I don't know any of these actors, and like, I don't really, like, unless you saw Better Luck Tomorrow, you don't know the director. It's like, why am I seeing this? So like, it was I guess like a hidden gem kind of, but
yeah, it seems like, which is a weird thing to say about a movie in this franchise, but yeah, I mean, that probably was why I didn't take the time to go see it whenever it came out, especially with in all the races too, like that first race where it's like kind of going in and out of the crash, the broken windows and all that. It doesn't all exactly work. It doesn't all look seamless, but it is, you have to appreciate how like comic booky the visuals are, how it seems like each image is like leading to the next image. And then when you see something like The Fate of the Furious, where there's like almost none of that going on, it makes you appreciate what. Yeah, there is a tangible difference when Justin Lin is making these movies. I think that's why he made.
Yeah, because he makes the house style, right? And I think that's, something that we've talked about in here too. But like, he makes the house style, and people kind of have to follow in it. But like, they're not as good, they're not as adept at it as he is, and so it looks like, but doesn't feel like in a way.
Yeah, like James Wan had fun with it. I felt like, but it still felt like it was somebody new trying to kind of approximate that.
Well, and also you have the immeasurable difficulty of finishing a movie where his star died. Right?
Yes.
So I have a question for both of you that I think I know I think the answer is yes. But in this movie, both in the beginning when he's going to school, and then after Han dies and they go home to Sean's dad's house, is this the only movie in which any main character uses public transportation?
Dom's on the prison bus.
Yeah, but that's not public transport. That's
counts.
Private transport for sure.
Yeah.
It's not like you can be like, oh, let me catch a ride on that bus.
That's true. I would guess so.
Because like at the end, Sean and Neela take the subway back to his dad's place, and I was like, is this the first time I remember? And there's the scene. I don't remember if it's in the movie or got cut, because I remember we watched it one way or the other. But there's the scene where like they're in the subway station. There's like that fight. I think it's a deleted scene. And there's that like verbal fight before school. And so I'm like, that's in here too. But I don't remember, like there's never like a taxi or a bus or a train or a subway.
In the first
as far
movie,
as I can remember, right?
They just walk when they lose their cars in the first movie.
Yeah.
They're in the subway station in 6 when the fight happens.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Letty does get on a subway to escape. That's true. That's a good call.
Yeah.
But it's still weird. It's still weird to see them.
It feels weird. Yes, it does now. Yeah.
I guess that's also like a visual like loss of control that the world is spinning out, and they're the one thing that where they feel safest behind the wheel, they're not able to be there. Maybe.
Yeah, because they can do anything with cars. That was around the 6th one was when it was like, this is just cars are magic. Yeah, that's that when they lose that. Like, because you notice in Tokyo Drift that this movie spends an awful lot of time setting the main character up, which none of these movies do. Like, none of these movies function like that. They all just move. And like this one actually is like, hey, we're telling you a story about just this guy, which again is why it's so funny that it's such a like that the casting went the way that it did. But yeah, it's none of the other movies feel like they are about, with the exception of maybe the first one, but that one is as much about Dom as it is about Paul Walker. So I don't know. This one really is just like, here's one guy's journey through the world of racing.
Well, I think that's why like 3 and 4 and like the first half of 5 work as well as they do, because they're smaller stories. And I think you were talking before about what you don't like about these new ones, and for any number of reasons, but like they save the world in all these movies, and we talk about this too. But it's like, I like just having I don't think we've really talked about your specific angle of one guy's story through this or one guy's journey through this or whatever, but like 4 is just, it's the core 3 or 4, because Letty's kind of not really in most of that, and then the first hour of Fast 5 is just mostly the 3 of them, and like it works because you love those characters. You're not like, wait, who's this, what is this, why are there 8 people on screen?
I don't know, man. I guess that's my answer for like what would bring me back is like just bring it way down. I don't know. I know that's not the appeal of these movies anymore. People want to go see all the spectacle, but for me, it's just like, yeah, please just bring things down like a little bit, because this has gotten too ridiculous. Like the sequence in Fast 9 when he's like fist fighting a SWAT team or something. It's played like it's a sacrifice that Dom is making, but he's like, you guys get out of here, I'll buy you some time, and then he like fights the whole SWAT team. Vin Diesel's essentially the Hulk in these movies. Like now they don't act like he's mortal. Charlize Theron is an interesting addition, but the spy angle is just too. I'm not interested in that at all. Even though I know everything that's going to happen in Tokyo Drift, I found myself more excited to watch the simple races in this and watch the characters try to navigate those races. I like that. These are movies about racing, but now they're just about heists. That's fine. I don't know. I know that was a conscious choice. It's not a criticism for me to be like, no, they're just about heists now. Like, of course they are, but I'm losing interest. And I was a huge cheerleader for this franchise for a while, man. I love
there's a divide among fans between like the racing movies and the action movies, and it feels like your divide comes later. It's like, I'm cool with some of the action movies, but then they're too something.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I guess so. Like, I liked it when it kind of dabbled in that. I was like, oh, this is fun and exciting. But then when it was like, okay, we're going all in on that. That's all these movies are going to be now. I was like, no, great, no, bring it back a little bit. Because even in Fast 5, they're racing a little bit, right? Like they found ways to incorporate that. It's gonna go really really far off on a tangent now, but like they rebooted Are You Afraid of the Dark? I liked I'm a huge Are You Afraid of the Dark fan. It's like my favorite TV show of all time. Anyway, they've done 2 new seasons now. I don't think they were related creatively, so like different people did them, but both of them were more about the storytellers than the scary stories themselves. And I can see why you would do that. I always found that to be the more interesting part of the original series. Like, oh, this is the episode where Gary and Sam start dating, right? But like that sort of proved to me how important the stories themselves were, because I was like, you should find a way, like as much as I'm enjoying this, which I'm not criticizing any of the, well, I am pretty directly criticizing them right now, but I'm not saying I didn't enjoy them. I had a great time with those, but like, yeah, the characters should have been telling each other's story, even if they are navigating a mystery or something, or like monsters are coming out. They should be like, oh, what are we have to pass the time, like how do we take our mind off things? Oh, I'll tell you a spooky story. Like, would that not be that should be exactly what the show is? And that's like that bringing that back to Fast and the Furious, like that they should find ways to incorporate the races into the heist. Like, oh, we have to get, oh, I'll race you for it, or do it. Like they do that pretty explicitly in 5 and 6, but
well, there's a line at the end of this movie, and it makes me. It wasn't something that I missed or regretted not having missed, but at the end, and like we've heard this before. I remember hearing this before, but Sean asked Dom, or he's surprised that Han was racing American Muscle when he was with Dom. He's like, he was when he was old. Yeah. Like, I won this off my friend Han or whatever, right? But like, I wonder, like that single line, I was like, I wonder how many off-screen races we've missed between our main characters that like,
thousands.
I'll bet you my car or whatever, especially now that they're millionaires, right? It's just like, I'll bet you my car that I can beat in this quarter mile or whatever, right? So like, it has just, even if you don't want to have like that many, if you don't want the movie to be about racing, just do some of those. Just like, I'll race you or whatever for whatever, right? Do that.
Was there a race in Fast 9? I genuinely don't remember.
There was in the flashback. Dom races Jacob to, again, it's sort of the Tokyo Drift thing. Like if you lose, you gotta get out of town.
All right, I don't even remember that. So
there's chases, not races.
Okay,
that's the one. I think that's the one race, and there's also like the NASCAR race, which isn't really a race, right?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah. I don't know. It is funny to me. Like, I don't know shit about racing, so I don't know. The introduction of NOS at least tells me, oh, they have boosters at the very least. But like, a lot of Tokyo Drift is it's just like them making a face and then like I guess pushing the pedal harder. I don't like just like, oh, I took maneuver. I don't know. I'll just drive harder, and that's like, I'm fine. I can buy that. I don't know. That's like, I wish that there was more. Like, yeah, they're just not doing that anymore. It's all about these weird heist things. And I don't know, they at least drive a car into space. They had to get to space at some point. We've all been making that joke for how long? So yeah, I'm not seeing races, man. I want like get at least one race in there that like means something.
I don't think it's too much to ask.
Is it 5? Yeah, or 6? I think it's 5. Yeah, that's the one with the cop cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they all like race. They steal them and they're like, hey, now would be a good time for a race. And you know what it is? Like, it's as the audience, we're all just like, yeah, let's do one of those. It's been a minute. You've all just been planning this heist. You've earned a race. Yeah, have a race, guys. They also seem to take themselves I don't know. I shouldn't say that they take themselves too seriously because they are always making jokes, but something about like they bought into their hype or something, because it just doesn't feel like I'm cheering them on anymore. It feels like they don't, it feels like I'm watching them like at the top of the mountain and they're just like pointing down at everything else. Like, I don't know. It doesn't feel the same. It feels
so
like,
they're on top of the mountain. They're not drifting down the mountain, and that's the issue.
Correct. Yes. Exactly. 100%. Yes.
That's the road less traveled that makes all the difference. That's what that poem's actually about.
Nicely done. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
Actually, so speaking of that scene, so I have like a mini list in my brain, but what racer trash films include Fast and Furious stuff? Because I know that there's some in Vertigo.
There's been a bunch. We've seen. I've caught a couple. Like we were watching. Like Joey, what was like the one movie that we were watching? It was a really old movie that all of a sudden.
Two Lane Blacktop, I think, has some.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I did that. I cut Tokyo Drift into 2 Lane Blacktop and did the when they're drifting in a circle, and I superimposed the Ring video over it too, so it's like he's drifting the thing. I got very fixated on the entire Ring franchise for a while there in 2021. Yeah, and then Vertigo has 2 samples from it, Darby Seg and Danielle Seg. Yeah, both of them, and they did that independently of each other. Neither of them planned that. They just both cut in. I think because so much of Vertigo is just that dude driving around.
Yeah.
That was really funny to see that happen several times from 2 different brains.
There's also like were the beatdowns in either film, or were they just separate?
No, those were separate. Those were that was I think Darby did 2 of those videos, and I made the the sleepwave of the drift date, and I think those all dropped at the same time because we were all like Fast 9 was coming out. I don't know, but yeah, that was like the screenings. I want to say they were maybe the Blair Witch screenings, so it didn't fit the theme at all, but it was just what was going on at the time. So
Sure.
Or Magic Mike. I really don't remember. We genuinely put out so much stuff that it at a certain point there
it starts to blend. Yeah,
it was just like and then there were like 2 or 3 months. It was I put all the retrospective screenings together, and we were like, all right, well done, we're screening everything again. And it was just really funny how I was like, I thought we only needed 2 or 3 screenings, and then I hit a point where I was like, oh, we put out like 6 movies in May alone, like of 2021. Just like I wonder why we burned out. And yeah, like, there it is. Fuck.
Well, that was like, when the pandemic started, at the time I was doing 2 podcasts a week. We were doing this one, me and Joe were doing this one once a week.
Yep.
And I was alternating Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks movies with another friend, Mike. And then when the pandemic started, we're like, fuck it, let's do 4 a week. I was doing 2 of this and 2 of that a week. Yeah. I'm just like, this is too much. But like, we're all like, we have so much time. Let's just do everything. And then it's like, why do I feel worse than I did? Like, because I'm pushing myself too hard. Like I was doing 4 of those a week and playing Risk via Google Meet with friends twice a week. And I was just like, I don't have any time. Like I should have more time. We should like pause a little bit, but geez Louise.
I dropped out of a D&D game that we were playing. We were still playing on Skype. I felt terrible about it, but I was like, I just can't. I'm too busy. And it really was just because I was spending all of my time doing Racer Trash. But yeah, it's like, sorry, I'm too busy to do D&D like once a month, not even once a week. It's like I couldn't find the time for that. Like, come on, man.
One question for you about I want to know what you call it, but there was in the final retrospective, there was it was like Speed Vapor 1 and Speed Vapor 2. And so what do you call that with like 3 things layered on top of each other?
I called it Speed Vapors. That was the name of my,
And did you make that, or was that a team effort?
I did that. Maybe I shouldn't demystify it, but the whole point of that was that it would be on at like 3 a.m, and that people would be confused about it and not sure how to describe
that's
it
exactly when I was watching it. It's the best time to watch Racer Trash. It was like 3 a.m. when you're like...
That was like my motivation behind fucking, what was it, Vibes White Shot also, was that like not telling people about that, and I was like, I wanted that to like only screen past a certain time so that it would be this weird, I don't know, I'm very obsessed with the idea of catching something on late at night on TV and not being sure that you're even like awake or that what you're seeing is even real. But to completely demystify all of that, yes, I did make Speed Vapors out of the entire... It
was at the end, and I remember being in the chat there and being like, and nobody knew when it was going to end. And there was like, we thought like there was like a sleepwave, like a farewell, like it was the Speed Vapor sleepwave or whatever, and then the original, like, and then he did like the VHS strips. I'm like, this is going to go forever. Like I don't have enough hard drive space.
That's because we hadn't done the I had not included the VHS cuts in the retrospective, which Robbie did early on. He did Speed Vapor and Heatwave, and then after that was like, okay, I'm not doing one of these for all of them. Very rationally was like, I can't put out like a 4x3 crop of all of these, because also they got more complicated, so it was hard to... I'm very, very impressed that he did 2 of them, even because he like manually pan and scanned Heatwave, and we were all... That's a very wide scope movie.
Yeah, we're slowly working our way through, not like intentionally, but we're slowly working our way through all of the Racer Trash. Like we did.
Oh, no way.
Speed Racer last year for, was it modern? I think the modern car movies lap, and then we kicked off this lap with Heat and Heat Wave.
But we've done 2-lane Blacktop.
I love 2-lane Blacktop, man. Have you done 2-lane Blacktop like on its own, like the original?
Yes, we didn't talk about 2-lane Blacktop, but we talked about that movie.
Great, I love... My favorite part of 2-lane Blacktop is when somebody turns on the radio and James Taylor turns it off and is like, that shit just gets in the way. It is the complete anti-Racer Trash movie. It's not at all about like setting and I love that about it. It's very much about just driving and only hearing the sound of the engine and just watching landscape whip by for hours and hours at a time. It's so zen.
That's actually a good question. I want to keep it independent of Racer Trash. I don't want to be like, what movie did you wish you could wave that you didn't? Blah, blah, blah. like stuff like 2-lane Blacktop, which is a movie that I had not heard of until we started doing this podcast, and I was like looking up classic car movies. Like, I'm guessing that you probably have a better film history knowledge than most people. Yes. What are some like classic car movies or heist movies, or just like things that are sort of have like a DNA in the Fast and Furious movies do you think, like, what are some that, like, people might not know about that you would recommend? Like, stuff like Two Lane Blacktop that are kind of big if you know where to look, but, like, the average person might not know about.
Oh, shit. I don't know.
I sprung this on you. I feel bad that I just, like, was just like, hey, here's some homework that I didn't assign to you. But
so I'm going to think of a bunch of shit in an hour, probably, but, like, yeah.
Well, just, like, DM it to us, and we'll put it in the description or something.
Mine would be, I mean, it would be Two Lane Blacktop is what I would say. That was like I was curious if you guys had talked about that movie, because that is like my favorite movie about racing cars at this point. I love Speed Racer. Obviously, like that's one of my favorite movies too, but like I really fell in love with Two Lane Blacktop the past couple of years. I had seen it, but I didn't really get it until I watched it again at some point in quarantine, and then I was just like, this is so, and I really love the vibe of that movie and how it's absolutely just about not like, it's just about watching shit whip by. I think that rules.
And also, like, it's funny that those two movies almost couldn't be more opposite. I mean, they're similar,
yes,
but they're also like aesthetically diametrically opposed to each other.
Yes, completely. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other things, but that's pretty much it, man.
I will save you here. There's a very funny line in here that I must have heard before. It never clicked though, where they're in the garage and Han says to Sean, "The red Evo is yours." And then there's like 10 or 15 seconds of silence. And he goes, "What do you mean?" And it's just like, idiot, like, what do you think it means? He's giving you the car or letting you use the car. Like, you know what it means, but it's just like, it's such a long gap of just nothing, and it's just like, what do you mean?
There's something like that in Sunshine. Sunshine is another movie I got fixated on at some point in quarantine.
The Danny Boyle movie?
Yes. I'm a fan of Sunshine. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has a lot of problems, but I've grown to accept the problems and just like what I get out of it. And like, there's one part in Sunshine where, what is that actor's name? He's in like the Doctor Strange movies now.
Oh, Benedict Wong?
Yeah. He fucks up the calculations so that's why they lose the solar. He makes a big mistake that jeopardizes the mission, and he starts like falling apart about it. And I feel like in the edit they let his breakdown go on just like a step too long. like you kind of get it, and then it's just sort of like, wow, this has really been like, has it been a minute now of this guy just like shitting on himself in front of everybody? And then finally the captain steps in and is like, okay, wait, stop. But like that like something in the edit, like they just let it go to like they never tightened that spot up.
I feel like we talked about that movie on here for some reason recently, because I remember mentioning somewhere, and it must have been on here, that I haven't seen that movie since I saw a test print of it in theaters. Like, it was one of those like, hey, we've got like this secret sci-fi movie that like we're not going to tell you what it is until you're here, and it's not finished, but we want to know what you think. So I saw that before it was done, and there's like, you know, some spectacular scene at the end of like in space, and there's just a card on the screen just like, final render to go here, and just so I don't know. I haven't seen this movie since then. I had no idea that Michelle Yeoh was in that. So like, you know, in the Everything Everywhere All at Once era and the Crouching Tiger era, just like, let's get that revival for Sunshine, please. I want to see this Benedict Wong freak out too. I don't remember that at all.
That's fun. Well, I watched it. There was like a week when I watched it like every night that week. It turned into my like happy play. I think it was when they were still counting the election results. And I was just like stuck. Like I was like mentally just like, okay, well, we're just going to see what, and like, yeah, it turned into this thing where there were like certain benchmarks in Sunshine that I would like, okay, now there's only this much left. Love when the crew stops to all take a look at Mercury, because the ship's going by Mercury. But yeah, I became obsessed with it. And that was one of the moments that I started looking forward to, was that like seemingly innocuous part where it's just like, they definitely let that go on too far.
You see the utter breakdown of a man on screen.
Yeah. Which is, it's a good performance too. It's just something in the edit. Like they let it go way too far. So it becomes like, it's almost funny, and then they stop it. And then you're like, okay, that's kind of funny. I'm a fan of that movie. I'm generally an Alex Garland fan, but I did not see Men. I was curious.
Men is good. Men is really good.
I from a distance, I was like, that looks misguided.
Well, the issue with Men is that like the people who need, quote unquote, need to see Men are never going to see it. It's just like, yeah, men are terrible. Like, but like people who think
Rachel
men are
just brought up that movie today. Like literally, like right before we started recording, she was like, "Oh yeah, Men, I want to see that."
I made myself laugh really hard in theaters to see some guy like in the crowd somewhere and being like, "What the fuck is wrong with this woman? Like, why is she being so tough to all these men?" and I don't understand what's wrong with her, because like, the whole thing is just like every dude is super creepy to Jessie Buckley, and so I made myself laugh thinking there's some guy out there that she was thinking she was the problem.
All these men are acting perfectly normal.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They're just trying to be nice. They're just trying to help her out. What is wrong with her?
I haven't seen it, so I can't criticize. And I really loved Devs. I was a huge fan of Devs.
I didn't love it. I liked it. I wish I liked it more.
I got a huge kick out of it. I mean, at a certain point when you got Stephen McKinley Henderson just like reading poetry over like montage, that you're like, yeah, this is great. This is my shit. I'm into this. But men just looked like we're doing this now? Like now is did you just get into this, or like get into gender theory, or like start reading about misogyny?
I mean, if it wasn't Jessie Buckley, I wouldn't be on board, but I just, she is maybe my favorite actor going today, and I just love her so much.
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, all right, I'm in.
What what is your favorite movie of hers?
I think Wild Rose is incredible.
I haven't seen it.
It's her, like, the song at the end that she sings will make you cry. I'm thinking of Ending Things she's incredible in.
Okay.
She's great in Chernobyl. Like, there's just, like, I've not seen her do something bad.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I've just missed most of this person's work, because, that didn't really
Oh, The
register
Lost
with me.
Daughter she's great in, too. Like, yeah, she's been around for sure. Oh, and there's also, like, a PBS Romeo and Juliet that she did, like, during the pandemic, which was great, so...
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was cool.
I'll watch that shit. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, it looks... I'm sure everybody in Men is great performance-wise, but yeah, it looked like...
There's only two actors. It's her and a dude. That's it.
Yeah, that guy...
And the dude plays every part.
What's his name? Isn't Rory Cochrane? He's the guy who fucked the pig in Black Mirror.
Rory Kinnear. Rory
Kinnear, yeah. And I'm sure he's great in it too, but it just seemed like one of those like things that like, okay, well, that was an idea that you had. I don't know if this is the movie. Like it seems like you have must have been a good pitch. I don't know. I shouldn't shit on it. I haven't seen it. That goes against like everything. But yeah, it just seems, I was like, okay, this looks misguided. It looks like an interesting thing for you to do.
I don't think that's a wrong take from the outside. Yeah. I will say I think it works better than maybe it should, but if you're like maybe not for me, then you can just skip it. I think just watch Annihilation again, because Annihilation's like perfect.
Yeah, I like Annihilation a lot. And I love 28 Days Later, but yeah, I thought Devs was really cool, but that was definitely like an early quarantine, like I absolutely need a show right now. It was weird that sorry, I could talk forever about Devs.
No, I like it. I mean, this is like the 14th time or something we're talking about Tokyo Drift, so like we definitely don't have any more to say.
You want to go up to the side? Is this like that podcast where they watch Grown Ups 2 every week?
Well, so this is our 11th time through the movie, but we did a
I've seen
bonus
Tokyo
one.
Drift like 100 times before we even started this. So
we did a bonus commentary on it this lap. We also talked about it for 2 other podcasts, so this is at least the 14th time that we've talked about it on a recorded thing. So like, I have one more note, but like, I don't know. I still find new things in these movies. I don't know how, but please, whatever you want to talk about, it's welcome. Because
what's your next note? What's your one more note?
My last note is Sean's dad says the nail that sticks out gets hammered, and I was like,
oh yeah,
because there's also the Uncle Kamada for want of a nail. So like all these old dudes in this movie have nail anecdotes. So like, here, let me tell you a story about nails. It's like, what? Why?
For want of a nail. Yes, that's great. That is funny. I think Sean's dad is an underrated character. It's funny that Sean shows up and he's we never see that woman again, right?
No.
That's not, was that a prostitute? Is he?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sure. He's just getting his fuck on, and he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't know you're, and he's a good dad. He kicks her out, unfortunately. I mean, I hope he still paid her. Sex work is work, but it's funny to me that happens, and then later on, he's just kind of this, like, he's always criticizing him, and it's I found myself kind of fixated on their whole relationship there, because all Sean does is say, this is my mess and I got to clean it up. And he's like, all right, well, I guess you can do your illegal street racing, and actually you can have my car and you can fix it up to do your illegal street racing. But yes, the nail metaphor is interesting that there are several of those.
The Uncle Kamada speech, I think, is like iconic. We've talked about that a lot, but I never put 2 and 2 together that they're both talking about nails. It's like they're different modes or whatever. But yeah, man, what is going on?
It's too bad him and Sean's dad didn't get a scene together. They could have really broken it down about nails.
Would love it.
Yeah.
Like old guy chatting, you know what I mean? I think they could have related with beyond the language barrier, but
they should have both been at the race, like dad's at a soccer game or something. Then like, that's my boy there. No way. Yeah, that's my boy over there. Yeah. I think that would have gone well. I saw this. Another thing I was thinking about watching this movie again. I saw the soundtrack for this movie on vinyl. I was in a record store last weekend and they had it on vinyl, and I was like, huh, like I was kind of surprised, but watching it again, I was like, yeah, this
like
is
an actual press. Like I need to go buy this on Discogs. What the fuck?
No, was this the record store day one? Remember that thing a couple months ago? I think it might be the new pressing.
There was a record store day sticker on it, so yeah, they still had copies. But yeah, and I considered it. I was like, I don't have that much money right now. I probably shouldn't buy this. But I was like, if it has because in the sleepwave that I made, I only used music from the movie, which is not usually the case. But I found slowing and reverbing and like laying it all on top of each other actually produced something pretty like usable for me. So that track, it's called Neela Drifts, is actually a really good piece of score. I don't love the whole score, but I was like tempted to get it just for that. But watching it again, I was like, yeah, this is all pretty good work. I mean, some of it's pretty generic. Sometimes you want to bring the energy up, so you just start hearing that guitar riff over and over, and you're like, yeah, I get it. But it's a pretty good score. It feels very. You always wonder. I should say, I always wonder how appropriate certain things are. This movie doesn't seem to fall into that trap of like it doesn't really present, or at least in the score, I feel like there's not like mystical flutes every time a Tokyo thing happens.
Yeah,
and that's like, I was like, that was something that stuck out to me watching the Twilight movies. It was like, oh boy, yikes! Like almost every non-white character in this is introduced as some sort of mystical like there's always these flutes about like all these like weird monster people. And then you read about Stephanie Meyer and how she like was saying
Mormon.
And she apparently wanted all of the cast to be white. The only reason that there's a black vampire in the first movie is because Catherine Hardwicke pushed for it, and she was like, okay, but so like you're like, oh, okay, yikes. So that yikes, because she definitely wrote some inappropriate stuff about Native Americans at the starting there, and then moving on with the rest of those movies, as ridiculous as they are. But that's all of that is to say that I actually found this. I mean, last thing a white person should do is watch a movie like declare this not problematic. I can't do that, but like it seemed like it was. I wasn't cringing that much, even though it was like fish out of water in Japan story. It didn't seem like it was doing the like, whoa, what's good? Like this place is crazy. Like, this is another planet, man. Like, no,
I want to take a moment to give a shout out to Twilight Slumber Party, which I think is on hiatus right now. But there was a podcast on our network that only talks about those movies. So check out that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did a whole cycle with them. I watched the movies and talked about them because I had only ever seen Breaking Dawn Part 2 before pandemic, and I thought it was probably one of the greatest movies ever made because there's a 30-minute segment that they just go, nope.
That rules. I have a lot of respect for that decision.
Do you like that too? Okay.
Yeah, finding out that didn't happen in the books, I was like, yeah, it sounds like you needed to spice things up. Yeah, because I don't know, it seems very much. The first one kind of rips. I like the first Twilight movie. It's just crazy enough. Like even though there's like obviously there's so much obvious problematic shit about it, but like it's just so weird and crazy. Yeah. And then like it's obvious that the success of that then New Moon is like the most boring movie ever made, like by far the worst. Just like this is forever long and it makes no sense. Like why are we doing anything we're doing in this movie? And it's just so clear that like it made its money. Stephanie Meyer got a more powerful position in like the way things were dictated, and then it was like, okay, New Moon is a boring adaptation of a boring book, and it's not like it's not doing anything for me. And then by the time you get to Breaking Dawn Part 2, you're like, yeah, please, like throw in a bunch of shit that didn't actually happen.
And then just rewind the movie and be like, psych, and then the psych moment when I was watching that movie was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen on film. Like, it's incredible that we just watched 20 minutes of a battle scene and they're just like, nope.
I'm a big fan of the fact that Peter Facinelli, who I knew primarily from Can't Hardly Wait, as the guy who says, "I'll kick everyone's ass in this room." He got the gig as the vampire dad. That to me is like getting the Chicago Med gig or something. Like, okay. Like I don't even think he's a great actor at all. I was just kind of tickled to see that he booked a gig on 5 like teen movies as the dad. I'm always happy to see somebody who played a high schooler in one of those movies or TV shows like come back as the dad. Like that's all Riverdale is really.
It's like, hey, you like these girls as Twin Peaks teenagers? Now they're Twin Peaks moms, basically, right? So
that's getting the gig. I'm always happy to see
for sure
get that gig. I grew up watching. I have a twin sister, so I watched every popular like teen show. I watched the OC while it was on, and I watched I have a lot of affinity for like that kind of that brand of teen melodrama, and I felt like Eclipse kind of nailed that feeling of like, this is all ridiculous, but I think they know it. And I think that the love triangle stuff in Eclipse is just really, really funny to watch if you enjoy that stuff. But yeah, somehow in New Moon, it is just languorous. Like, it's really just a boring fucking movie. Yeah, so there are highs and lows in the Twilight franchise. I'm also much more forgiving in general of movies these days, I think.
Yeah.
There's definitely a sense of like, oh, a movie was made. It's a miracle that it was made. Let's just enjoy it. Even if it's not good. if it makes me forget about the world for 2 hours, that's a win.
Also, my friend was saying, I was talking to my friend Jake about this, and he brought up a point. Jake was in Racer Trash. He brought up a point that he was like, if you watch how sexless movies are now, the Twilight movies, when you go back and watch them, are like, it feels insane to be seeing that. Like, even them talking about it, because none of the Marvel movies like seem to broach the subject.
That's right. I never thought about this. That's very strange. Yeah,
movies need to be hornier. Make movies horny again.
And like, it's funny because Twilight is so clearly Mormon. It's so like the whole, like the crux of the third movie is that he won't have sex before marriage, and she's like literally begging him. So like, it's funny to see that impressed upon those movies, yet somehow they are like 10 times hornier than, in spite of their the clearly deep-seated like problematic values, they are much hornier than any mainstream release you would find now. It seems like
very true. Very, very true.
Certainly anything with vampires and werewolves like fighting each other. Anyway, yeah, we could stop talking about Twilight now. Sorry.
Joe, do you have any other notes about Tokyo Drift or Twilight?
No, I firmly came into this knowing I just wanted to hear Alex talk to me for as long as we're talking. So that's all I like. I was like, I'm picking Uncle Kamada and stopping there. That's what I wanted to hear.
That's funny because I am a video editor, so I was very mystified about why I was being asked to be on a podcast at all.
Oh, because we just like we had like a huge Racer Trash boner for like 8 months.
That's exciting to hear. Thank you. But yeah, it's I'm always gonna be like, you know, people like whenever people reach out to me or like, you want to hang out with me? Like, I edit videos like all the time. That's video editing takes place in a cave, and you don't, you know, like, it's just like, funny that you would think that would translate, but like,
well, no, I think there's also just like, there's clearly an obvious, it's been obvious,
an appreciation.
It's appreciation and like a passion for the movies, and like the fact that you don't like them just shows that like how much more you like the original ones. Like, you're still seeing the new ones, even though you don't like them, right?
I wouldn't be as upset, but like now I am just like, it's like seeing a friend who's gone the wrong way or something. It's just like, I'm checking in on him, but I don't know, man. I don't like the decisions he's been making.
And I will also say that while this episode was going on, I bought the Tokyo Drift vinyl on eBay for $26.
Fucker, I just looked it up and it was $36 on a website. I swear to God, I really I have it in my.
Oh my God, that's
$26.99 plus free shipping. So I got it for
on eBay. Okay, cool. I'm gonna buy one on eBay as soon as we hang up. I swear to God.
If I see it again, I'll probably pick it up. I have a rule for myself now that I kind of have to be like digging through crates if I'm gonna buy vinyl. Once you start like going down the path of Discogs and like just
I'm on Discogs,
Oh man, I had to cut myself off at Discogs because you do this that you're like, well, like, it's so easy to talk yourself into dropping $100 on something. Like, it's the only copy.
Like, well, it's the mono edition from Japan, of course. With the still has the Obi band on it. Of course, I want that. Like,
this isn't available anywhere else. I bought on vinyl. I bought the song that my friend David Seeger used in his Mad Max Fury Road segment when Grimy Ghost did the Fury Road.
I gotta say, Grimy's colors. This is a thing that I cannot say to anybody because nobody knows what the fuck I'm talking about. But Grimy's colors in their segments are the greatest thing I've ever seen. No offense to like your work, because I love your work too. But like, Grimy's colors blow my mind every single time.
He's a good friend of mine, and I'm very like I've used his work as palette for my like. I've taken screenshots of his segments and then done the eyedropper and been like, that's the shade of pink that I need here. So I need it. Like,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's incredible. I don't know how he does it, but he's got a perfect eye for color, I guess. And you always know that it's him too. Like, it's very identifiable. So
and like, you see the credits and it's like, oh, colors by Grimy, Grimy. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, so everybody knows Grimy's got the colors, right? Got it. Okay.
He'll be happy to hear this. But yes, I completely agree. Big fan. But yeah.
Did he do? This is getting way too in the weeds. Did he do? And I don't know if you know this, but in the Blair Witch, I think it's the Blair Witch one where there's like the Burning, it's that movie, the Korean movie Burning. That was his segment, right?
That was his segment, yeah.
Unbelievable. I think it might be like one of my favorite. Like that whole like mashing up I'm thinking of ending things with Burning, with Blair Witch, with like one or two things. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
And Silent Hill. He got a lot of Silent Hill in there.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I've played Silent. Like we were playing through the Silent Hill games and texting each other, and it was just it's very funny to see his fixations kind of come out and everything that he does. But yeah, it was his idea to do Blair Witch, and I thought that was a great. Like, I'm really glad that we did that movie.
It's very cool. I think that turned out very well. So now here, very important question for you, Alex. Are you ready to find out which Fast and Furious character you are?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So we created a personality quiz. So there's no wrong answers. It's whatever describes you best. So there are 7 questions, 6 multiple choice answers per question. I will read you the question and the answers. You just pick whichever one applies to you most, or your idealized version of yourself, whatever. No wrong answers. And we'll find out which character you are. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. You don't sound very excited. You sound both excited and resigned to your fate of like having some character you don't want or something. I don't know.
That's a good read.
I guess
doing a personality test out loud. Like I don't like to talk about. I don't know.
It's really stupid. It's really dumb, buddy. Yeah, they're really dumb and gentle questions. I promise.
Okay, yeah, it's cool. It's just
Here's the question number 1. This is how little you should worry about.
Okay.
How fast are you? NASCAR, roller coaster, Lamborghini Murcielago, Toyota Prius, Vespa, or Razor scooter?
Oh shit, man!
Like this does not really reveal anything about you that you have
Nobody's
not
learning
revealed
anything about
yourself
you
tonight.
No, certainly not. I'm trying to think of an answer. Which of those is like mostly at 0 miles per hour, like most of the time, and then for about 10 minutes, very fast, because that's how I do all of my work.
Oh,
is that roller coaster?
That might be roller coaster.
All right, yeah, let's go roller coaster.
Those roller coasters, like you're inching up, and then all of a sudden it goes
fast.
You're like,
That's how I can't do work if I'm not backed into a corner, and then I just end up doing everything very quickly, and I've gotten good at that, but it's also very anxiety inducing.
Oh, for sure.
That's me thinking way too much about this personality. This is why I was hesitant. I was like, I'm going to obsess over this. Every question it's going to take me 20 minutes.
All right. Question number 2. You know it's coming. How furious are you? The Hulk, Kylo Ren, Christian Bale in that one movie set that one time, Mel Gibson, Charlie Brown, or Jack McBrayer?
Man, as tempting as it is to compare myself to Mel Gibson on a podcast that's going to be released publicly.
Someone for the first time, like we've been doing this for years, like probably 3 or 4 years, and someone finally picked that. We're like, well, are you sure you want to publicly like say that you're angry like Mel Gibson? They're like, yeah, that's pretty much. I'm like, okay.
I'll go with the Hulk. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same as the speed thing. I'm prone to, like, it happens a lot, like very quickly, and then like mostly it's stagnant. But then all of a sudden I'm like, why do they do this to the Are You Afraid of the Dark franchise?
Question number 3: we're having a barbecue. How are you helping? Are you on the grill? Are you saying grace? Are you kicking back with a beer? Are you babysitting? Are you being the entertainment? Or are you sneaking a snack?
Oh, I'm kicking back with a beer.
Perfect.
You've got time to kill. What are you doing? Are you grabbing a bite, working on your car, hanging with friends, drinking a beer, working out, or working on your computer?
I'm playing Stardew Valley, whichever one of those is.
I mean, if you're going to hang with your digital friends or working on your computer.
Yeah, that's probably working on your computer.
Cool.
I genuinely look at, like, do I have 20 minutes? I can do a day in Stardew Valley. All right, let's go. Yeah.
Cool.
Gotta take care
Describe your wedding. I'm never getting married. It's me and my partner. It's us and our families. It's a backyard country affair. Everyone I know is there. I don't remember.
I'm going to say I'm never getting married.
Okay. You just won the lottery. Congratulations. You just won the lottery. What are you buying? My own garage, a private plane. I'm gambling it all away. My childhood home, a fleet of cars, or a new life.
Oh, I'm gambling it all away.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh, you're my kind of guy. I didn't know we were going to do this. That's perfect.
I don't like to have too much money. It's just a way of rationalizing how bad I am with money. But yeah, just get that away from me. I don't. Yeah.
And then the final question to determine it all: what is your drink of choice? Belgian ale, Corona, something fruity, water, whatever's cheapest, or just Joe's getting a drink. Just give me one of whatever you're having.
I'm gonna go Corona. Actually, I genuinely like. I like Mexican lagers. I like that, like crisp. I brought that.
Yeah.
I don't live I don't live on the West Coast anymore, but that's definitely something that happened to me while I lived there, and now I'm just like, that's the only thing I like to drink when I'm getting drinks.
Alex, I am so excited. You are a new answer.
Wow.
I think you're a new answer almost specifically because you're gambling all your money away, and you are a 2-for-1. You are Rico and Tego. You are the explosion
nice.
twin. So you tend to be
yeah.
indecisive, sometimes
Rico and
swinging between
Santos.
two extremes.
That's crazy.
Leo and Santos. Half of you wants to ignore all your worries and just go with the flow, while the other half needs to plan every step and dwell on past mistakes. This is, like, I don't know you very well, but just like the hemming and hawing of the last 5 minutes.
Correct. Yeah.
More specifically about
100%.
you.
Can't help being a Gemini. Yeah,
Same.
That's me. Yeah, that's me.
It can be a struggle, but strangely, these diverging traits work together and help even you out. At the best of times, it can lead you to being a very organized person who doesn't get upset when things don't go as planned. At the worst of times, it can leave you frustrated as the comic relief of your family. But as long as you can help them accomplish their goals, you're okay with that. And you drive like the wind blows.
Oh, wow. That's great. That feels good. Yeah.
When's your birthday, buddy?
Those guys, May 26th.
Okay.
The day that, that Racer Wave premiered.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
That was the whole reason. I was like, I wanted to do a Vaporwave Cut of Speed Racer. My birthday was like 3 days away, so we did it in time for that. But yeah,
That's super, super cool.
thanks for saying so. But yeah, I'm happy to hear that I'm those twins.
Yeah. So
that
now
works
you
for me.
are the twins, but do you have a favorite character? Do you have a favorite character in any of the movies? It doesn't have to be Tokyo Drift, but favorite character in the franchise. They can be gone. They could be in one movie. They could be a main character. They could be background character. Favorite character in any of these movies?
That is a good question. It is probably Han.
Okay.
Yeah.
Han's great. I was a fan of his presence in 6. Also, that I have to say, Giselle's death in 6 to save Han was the loudest collective gasp I've ever heard in a movie theater. The entire crowd gasped when she did that. And that's, I guess, what I mean by like the weight of these movies is gone, is because no moments like that happen anymore. But that was like, what? Like that really had a huge effect on the crowd I saw that movie with. Even with that was in the Rumble Seats theater. So like, that was a...
You heard it over the rumbles.
Yes, that was quite an experience. Yeah, so... Yeah, I think it's Han. It really feels like...
Well, that's the right answer.
I don't know if they're
Yeah, it's a
setting
great
him up
answer.
or what. And I don't want them to have to be spin-offs. I genuinely just want them to do the ensemble, but have Dom be less of an important character, because he's the focus on him is what's killing these movies, I think. Which he absolutely is what made them at the beginning. But if you're going to do 10 movies, man, we got to mix it up. Like, it can't always be about you.
Yeah. One more question and then one more game. We are pulling a job, so we're like fast forwarding to the next movie we're going to cover in the Fast and Furious franchise is Furious 7, of course, because we go chronologically, not release order. And so in that movie, they pull a heist. They do have Roman go out and shine bright like only Roman Pierce can. If we're like, Alex, we're pulling a heist. We're going to walk away with $30 million from a split 3 ways, but we need you to go to the room next door, and we need you to distract them the only way that Alex Jacobs can, shine bright like you do. What song are you singing a cappella karaoke style, either so good people can't take their eyes off you, or so
with
bad they
T-Pain
can't
as the
look
DJ?
away? What song are you singing to distract an entire room full of people?
I was going to say I would just talk to them about the Are You Afraid of the Dark? What's happened to the Are You Afraid of the Dark series?
I'll say that. Are You Afraid of the Dark?
'Cause I could do that for a long time, but if it has to be a song, it would probably, I don't know. I haven't done karaoke in a while, but my song was always Space Oddity by David Bowie.
Okay.
Great song.
I'd probably
Great
do that.
song.
Just like
We've never had that, I don't think.
love
That's
that
a great song.
the journey of that song.
I do like the picture of you as like a Latter-day Saints, like, hey, do you have a, like going door to door, like, hey, do you have a moment to talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark?
What happened to Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, because I am a huge fan of the whole series. I've watched every episode multiple times. I think it goes off the rails when Tucker is older. You do the newer cast with like Alicia Cuthbert. There's some good episodes in there, but it's not quite the same as the
I need
crowd
to
with
revisit it
Gary.
again.
Yeah,
We did it in college at one point.
Mhm.
Like we like rewatched like a bunch of the old ones,
Yeah.
and it was glorious. I need to revisit again. You sold me. I'm down.
It's fun to
I'm gonna
rewatch
do
them. Honestly, the reboots are good too. I would not say you should avoid those. I just think that they should. It makes sense to me that the ball swung that far to the other side of things. Like now it's just a serialized thing about these people who have a scary story club. But I genuinely think it has to be both worlds. Like you have to use one should inform the other and back and forth. And that's why they should give the series to me. I'm so glad that Nickelodeon listens to this podcast. But yeah,
I think if you were to get the reins, it wouldn't be because of the podcast. I think it would probably because of Racer Trash. But we will also take the credit that if you get the reins, Are You
if
Afraid
you
of the Dark?
do,
Because I did three. I did 3 Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes in Racer Trash that we vaporwaved.
Well, I mean, just the fact that like you had such a media presence there, like this is listened to by 30 million people. Like we are the biggest podcast that no one's ever heard of. But I do think that like your footprint and your impact for like the thing you did for 2 years will slightly eclipse this, but not by much. But
Thank you for saying so. I don't know. I'm still sort of trying to like have a life after. So it's like I kind of don't know what to do with it. I love talking about it, but yeah, it's just it's funny to see people discover it now and then be like, oh yeah, it's over, and they're like, why? And you're like, I don't know, just we don't hang out anymore, man. Just leave you alone. Yeah. And that's like it's very funny to see it kind of refused to die.
There's almost more releases now that you're dead than it was when it was living, because there's like all different Discords. Like I don't know, I don't do any of this stuff. I just like hang around, but I'm in like 8 Discords because of this stuff.
Yeah,
just like,
now there's all these new groups, and it was just funny that like you could have been doing this like while we were doing. It was funny that like like Racer Trash had to end before people felt comfortable like springing forward with their different groups, because a lot of them had nothing to do with, it's not like it's former Racer Trash members. It's not like Segfest. It's all just people who were fans, and they're doing really cool work. And it's like, yeah, like you guys could have been doing this the whole time. It's like, I guess we needed to die before you felt comfortable doing it. I don't know.
Guess so. I don't know, man. But now we got people waving Lost, right? So that's the fact that they're doing that. I'm down. Okay. Yeah. One game to play. It's called This Ain't No 10-Second Race, aka Boy Do We Have a Podcast for You.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Come and check out our show. Yeah.
I don't remember if I told you about this or not, but you have a little bit of time as I review last episode. But this is where we go on twitter.com, everyone's favorite website, and you find any tweet from someone you don't know who's tweeting about the Fast and Furious franchise. Send it to me either on Twitter or in Zencastr, and we will respond to them from the Too Fast, Too Forever account, just encouraging them to listen to the show, because they're like, this person is tweeting about like, Sean's dad talking about the nail monologue. It's like, this person knows these movies inside and out. They should be listening to this. So take a moment, go on Twitter, find a tweet from anybody. Once you have it, send it to me. But I'm going to review last episode's picks. Joe, we did Fast and Furious 6 with Iffy Wadiway.
Yep.
You found Ellie Rose at Ellie Rose, a guest, always have been and always will be the biggest fan of Fast and Furious. And we said, you may be in contention, but you're going to have to compete with us. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing. Swinging and a miss, unfortunately. I found Danielle at Danielle Lou Camp. It really amuses me that the only person in the Fast and Furious franchise who has stayed dead is Gina Carano. And we said she was on the wrong team, bitch. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. Nothing.
Damn.
And then if he found J.D. Thorne, The Rise of Gru, which I don't think that was his name last time, but maybe it was. Gru, Minion Fever, sweeping the nation.
Yeah.
The Fast and the Furious premiered on this day in 2001, which means it is now officially of drinking age. Salud mi familia. And we said, thanks for sharing the starting celebration. The next Corona's on us. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. It got a like from Simo, past guest of the show, Simo, but we retweeted this, and like 8 listeners of ours liked his tweet, and J.D. Thorne could not even be bothered to respond to or like our tweet. So swing and a miss across the board, 0 points. Alex, there's a complicated scoring system. It's so hard to score points. It's wildly difficult to score points. So, like, if you listen in a couple weeks when we review yours and you don't get any points, don't feel bad.
We get a lot of no points. We're, like, very low scoring for playing this game for
should be
150 episodes. Yeah.
We're finding people tweeting about movies that we know everything about, and they're like, yeah, nah, I'm good.
Not even like it. No, just like fucking ignore.
It's funny. I searched Tokyo Drift on Twitter, and it looks like I don't watch Love Island, but apparently somebody on Love Island just said their favorite movie was Tokyo Drift.
Oh.
On UK, because America didn't start yet. Yeah, so it has to be.
I guess so. Yeah, I really don't know shit about it, but it's funny that like all of the Tokyo Drift tweets I'm seeing are people saying like he said his favorite movie was Tokyo Drift. And, like not fans of I wouldn't throw any of these your way as like, oh, this person clearly loves the Fast and Furious. It seems like they're all aghast
disappointed in this guy
at this man's choice, but I'm officially rooting for him on Love Island.
I don't know what show it was. It wasn't Love Island, but somebody texted me that said, I'm watching a TV show where a character said his favorite Fast and Furious movie was Fast 5. What does that say about him? I'm like, that means he's a man who has taste. Like, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hate that character. This does not help me. I'm like, well, but
Sorry.
It's out there. It's out in the world. Fast 5, Tokyo Drift, both excellent choices. But Alex, while you continue to look, Joe, you sent your tweet. Please hit us with yours.
Mine's from Kelsey Jaffer, star emoji hiatus at Kelatonin. Great at. I have now watched the first, second, and third Fast and Furious movies. One of the biggest takeaways is that all of these men just secretly want to kiss each other really badly. Kelsey, we agree. There's a lot of sexual tension in these movies, and it's never heterosexual.
That's true.
Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
Yeah.
I think Kelsey will appreciate that she is right.
We agree there's a lot of sexual tension in these movies, and it's never heterosexual. Boy, do we have a podcast for you.
We say this all the time. Dom and Brian want to kiss each other the whole time.
Yeah, that's true. Well, him and The Rock, there was a lot of tension between Vin Diesel and The Rock, which is why it's
Also
funny
true.
that they're not speaking anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a falling out. But yeah, those were the guys. There's that shot of them in Fast 5 where they're so sweaty and so close, and everyone in the theaters.
He's so wet. The Rock is so wet in that scene. Just like,
Yeah.
they fully misted him, and like he just like shook his eyelashes and then walked right into the scene.
Yeah, there's a scene. Oh, wait, in the Twilight movies, there's a scene when they go to Rio de Janeiro. And it's the same shot of that fucking statue that lets you know that that's where you are.
Yes.
I'm just connecting that. So that's the same thing between those.
The Twilight movies are great. I'm so glad you love them.
With time, I didn't see them when they came out. I was just like everybody else who was like, "Oh, I'm not going to be a part of that." But now, with distance and looking back, you're like, "These are weird." It's really weird that this happened culturally, and it gave us it gave us two super, like, we know that they're good actors. Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart are both great actors, but like they're not necessarily great in those movies. I mean, it's hard with the material that they have, but also they seem like they're kind of still growing up and like learning how to be people, and you can like see that. There was like an interview with Kristen Stewart where they were like, "How did you feel like rapping on the last Twilight movie?" And she was like, "More free than I've ever felt in my life." You could just see it ruining their lives in real time. And it's like they have genuine chemistry early on, and then like I don't know when they broke up in the timeline of the movies, but by the last one, like they're both so checked out of each other, and they're just like, we're just going through the motions. We have to do this. It's our jobs to be in love with each other, and we're tired of it.
And then now they're two of the biggest actors working in Hollywood, right?
Yes.
So like they were free to actually to ascend, to evolve into their ultimate selves or whatever, right?
And both of them have worked with David Cronenberg. I think if somebody could put the two of them in a movie now, that would rule. I would hope that it would be an interesting director, but I have to believe that they would do interesting work with each other now.
That's incredible.
I only thought that because they're both in separate David Cronenberg movies.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, and they're too good, but not, I love the novel Cosmopolis, but I did not love that movie, and I liked Crimes of the Future a lot.
I liked Cosmopolis a lot. I saw that with a big group of people, and I was like the only person smiling on the way. Everybody hated it, and I was like, that was really cool. I thought, and I liked his performance in it a lot. I thought there's a scene in Cosmopolis when they're at like a club, and he's not allowed to go on the dance floor because he's too rich. It would be too dangerous, and you can like it's the most authentic performance coming from Robert Pattinson. He's just like staring out at the dance floor wantingly, like, no, you're not allowed to go out there, man. And I loved Crimes of the Future a lot. I thought Kristen Stewart was great in it.
She was great in it.
That's why I want the director to be David Cronenberg. I want David Cronenberg to make another movie with the two of them, and I will just be happy as a pig in shit to see that happen. But yeah, anyway, that's...
It does seem like if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be him, right? So.
Yeah.
No, Harmony.
Oh, Harmony Korine. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I would
put them back together and have them be like, I don't even know what they would do, but like both be like serial killers that like meet somewhere. You know, like I don't know what he would do, but Harmony's the only other guy that I can see doing it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see anybody do it.
I found a tweet. It's a quote tweet. So the original tweet was Films to Films, which is just a account that does like 4 still frames from a movie. And said the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift was released on this day 16 years ago, and is 4 frames from Tokyo Drift. And then F Clover Holiday Ga Pushpin at Konidasu on Twitter said it's been 16 years since Sumabaki Satoshi on the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift debuted as exceedingly handsome guy, and that's what I looked on Twitter for, just exceedingly handsome guy, because I want him to come back. Where is this guy who starts the race? Bring him back. So I retweeted that, and I'm going to say we want him to return, something like that. Boy, do we have a podcast for you. And just he puts in a gif of him saying go. But,
he's the Blu-ray menu. When you throw the disc in, that dude is the first thing you see. Terrible Blu-ray, by the way. The Universal Blu-rays are very bad. I mean, it's fine when you're watching it, but if you pause it for too long, it reverts to the Universal logo. It's like a GIF of the Universal logo.
It took me like a year to burn into my brain that like you would think that like it's the play button that brings it back, but it's not. It's like the select button.
Yeah, you can't press play. If you press play, nothing happens. You have to press select, and that messes with me every time. It's like, why?
Like on Xbox or whatever, like the B button or whatever pauses, but you have to hit A. It's the stupidest. But at least it's universal. Like it's. I don't mean it as a pun, but as universe, like all of their DVDs, all the Blu-rays are equally shitty. So it's like, okay, you hit A to get back, but it's like, what are you doing, guys? How do you not have this UX down? What is going on?
It's so counterintuitive. It's like, Matt, you want to be the person to make the case for discs, but like it's like, this is not as easy as if you were to just watch this on streaming somewhere, man.
No, and like it's the same thing. It's like, why do I have to sit through like opening like like why are you still putting trailers before the menu? Like just get to the thing. I'm the one person buying Blu-rays.
Well, I still watch VHS tapes. I like the trailers, but I also like that it's like a certain amount. I don't know. I like the layout of a VHS tape, but you also kind of know what you're doing when you throw a VHS in. You throw it in, and you can like go make food, or I don't know, you have a minute. The Universal Blu-rays do that thing where they connect to the internet and find new trailers for you. And
that's really weird and creepy.
I dislike that because I want the thing to be kind of a time capsule of when I got it. So like I want it to just show me the weird Liam Neeson movie that I forgot existed instead of showing me the new Minions trailer or something.
We've probably talked about it on here, but one of the past guests of the show and friend of the show, Christian Larson, there was on the Passenger 57 VHS. It was a prized possession of his because, not for the movie, because we didn't care about the movie, but there was a trailer for the Jeff Speakman film Street Night before Passenger 57. So we would always throw the Passenger 57 VHS in the VCR and only watch the trailer because like it was sort of pre-YouTube or like before this was on YouTube at least. And it was just this artifact. But yeah, if that was an internet connected DVD, Street Night wouldn't be on there. It'd be some other new bullshit. So like, bring it back. Give us
not
Street
interesting.
Night.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm Team Street Night. I want it to be. I want the artifact. I want all the like things I have to be these weird. Especially when you get physical media, like you want it to be like some weird moment in time preserved. You don't really care for it to be. I don't want online connectivity. I could just find that shit online, man.
Exactly.
All right, Alex, did you find a tweet for the game?
I'm so glad we got to talk about that. I sent a tweet to the Too Fast Too Forever account.
Okay, there you go. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, TJX Lamar says Tokyo Drift is easily the best in the franchise. It's clearly a response to the Love Island thing. Pretty simple, but this guy likes Tokyo Drift, so I think...
So I'm going to, unless you want to add to this, I'm just going to say, because he says easily the best in the franchise, I'm just going to say easily. Boy, do a podcast for you.
Yeah, sure, go for it. I don't want to add to it. You guys do this. You hassle people. I have a pathological fear of bothering people, so I would never do what you're doing right now. But you go ahead and do it.
Well, Joe had this idea like a while ago, like maybe people don't respond because they think it's a bot, and it's like, well, maybe, but it's like a weirdly customized bot that like is specifically responding to like your years old tweet or whatever about what just who knows.
I know a few years ago, an airline lost my bag, and I tweeted about it, and I got a automatic response from some other thing that was like, "Oh, you should have booked with us, haha!" And I was like the angriest I've ever been in my life. I was like, "Get the fuck out. I did not ask you shit." Like I was so upset. So yeah, maybe it's like that, but I don't know. Suggesting a Fast and the Furious podcast is a different beast.
We're doing it from a good place, but it's also still it is definitely hassling them in a little way. But whatever.
Well, it's like you brought up the Latter-day Saints before. It's very much like that. It's more like you're offering a pamphlet.
Yeah, you don't have to listen. I'm not forcing them to.
Yeah, let me tell you about this.
You might like this.
The description for this episode is going to be not about the Fast and Furious, but it's going to be about Twilight, and it's going to be about Are You Afraid of the Dark, and it's going to be about Razor Trash. Like, like the amount of Fast and Furious content we talked about is probably less than the other stuff, but that's exactly what I want. Like, just
same.
Yeah, that's. I imagine your 11th time through. You're happy. You're happy about that. So thanks for letting me talk about Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because that's.
Well, thank you for coming on and talking about Are You Afraid of the Dark? This was an
brother.
Absolute treat. Thank you so much for joining us. What would you like people to know about you? Is there anything that you want people to follow you or check your workout, or what do you want people to know about Alex, aka Spiffy? So Spiffy is from Monkey Island, right?
It's a Monkey Island reference.
Yeah,
yes, that was
coming back.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new one. I think it looks great. Apparently, they got some heat for changing the art style, but they've done that a few times in that game series. I'm excited that Ron Gilbert is coming back. I think it's going to be a fun game. I'm excited because those games got boring, and I felt bad that I'd be like, oh, I was obsessed with the Monkey Island games as a kid, and people would like point at the later ones, which are not very good. Boy, let's talk about Monkey Island for a while. Yeah, what did you do bringing this up?
I don't have the Monkey Island connection, but my favorite game of all time is probably Sam & Max Hit the Road to the the point where like we named cats Sam and Max after
nice.
that LucasArts game. So like it's right in that same kind of wheelhouse, right? Like it's just like point and click 90s computer games.
Yeah, I never played that one, but I was a huge Full Throttle fan. That whole
Full Throttle's awesome.
Era of, LucasArts point and click games. I love those games.
Day of the Tentacle's great.
Yeah, but yeah, the Spiffy the dog is a reference to the dog in the first Monkey Island game, The Secret of Monkey Island, who you can talk to it, and it just like says, it just barks at you, but occasionally throws in character names and you can tell that the dog is telling like a long, complicated story, but you can't understand it. And that struck a chord with me somehow. And then like at the end of the game, it says like featuring Spiffy as the dog in the bar. So that ever since for like way too long, my internet existence, that has been my username. And I say way too long because it's way too easy to go find shit like my DeviantArt from when I was like 12 years old. Nobody should see and should not be available. I actually had I had to take my LiveJournal down. I had to like send a bunch of emails to get them to take my LiveJournal down because I couldn't log in anymore and they wouldn't do it. Because I fully had a LiveJournal as a teenager. I was like, yeah, please get rid of it. Nobody needs to see this. Why is this? Yeah. Can you play? And they were like, okay, but since you can't, it was like it was way too complicated. Anyway, thank God that shit's offline. If you have a teenage brain, you should not be putting your thoughts out publicly. Like
no.
In ink. So, yeah, please just let that go. Anyway, yes, if you want to follow me on Twitter at Spiffy the Dog, SPIFFY the dog. That's pretty much where you're going to find, like, I don't really have anything to plug. I did another seg for something, but I have no idea what the release strategy for it is or I don't really organize anything anymore. I'm tired. I did a lot of stuff for Racer Trash. So
is it nice to just sit back and watch and enjoy?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yes, you also, I definitely have a voice in my head that's like, oh, they did it this way. Oh, they didn't do that. Like, oh, there's not 20 minutes of cat videos. Okay, like that. You're like, yeah, well, of course there isn't, man. Like, Jesus, like, yeah. But yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah, it is nice to just kick back, but there's always going to be
I know there's a SegFest at the end of the month, so I don't know if it's going to go in there or not, but something at the end of July, I think.
Yeah, that's, I've given them some stuff. I made a bunch of sleepwaves for their sleepwave thing. I just love making sleepwaves. That's like what I like to do now. Segs are much more complicated. You have to like tell a story and it has to serve a purpose inside the movie. And I've definitely regressed to the point where I'm just like, yeah, I just want to make loops that go on for way too long and put you to sleep. That's like my favorite thing to make. So yeah, when I make shit like that, it's probably going to end up on my Twitter. I have a YouTube channel also, but like it's really hard to suggest that to people. You have to like go to my website and find it.
I accidentally found it this week and I don't remember why I found it, but I found it and I followed it or subscribed to it. So you do not have nearly enough subscribers for the amount of like what the work on there is.
Well, it's not. It would be easier if I could tell you to go to youtube.com/Spiffy the dog, but I can't, because if you did that, you would go to the YouTube account I had like when I was like a teenager, which is still there because I lost the login and I can't seem to transfer it. So instead, it's like just a YouTube account that says Alex Jacobs and it's like a really complicated URL, which is why you have to go to the link from my website.
YouTube.com/channel/UCI8NLO is our one.
Yes. Yeah, it's very stupid. Feel free to tweet about that, please, because yeah, I don't know how else to fucking send it to people.
Oh, I found it because I was looking for the I Call Today video.
Oh, yeah, I did that.
Which is on there from
a
year ago. Yes.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing I've ever really, I peaked there. I made that in like less than an hour, and it's like the funniest thing I've ever made, and everyone loves it. So I'm just like, yeah, I guess that was it. I guess that's all. It's been downhill ever since I did that.
It's not downhill. It's just, if it's downhill, it's drifting.
It's all been drifting down a mountain since then. Yeah. Yeah, very good. No,
it's just like Buzz Lightyear. You're falling with style, right? You're like you peaked there maybe, but you've been waving your way down that hill.
Yeah, I love that. I love Tom Hanks coming out being like, "Why didn't they let Tim Allen do that?" Like, yeah, he's gonna say that. Leave him alone. Everybody's like asking Tim Allen's friends, like at PR junkets and stuff, like, "So what do you think about the Lightyear thing?" Like, yeah, of course they're gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know why they didn't let him do that." And like the answer is like, because nobody wants anything to do with Tim Allen.
Right.
True.
Chris Evans over there. We all love him. Nothing problematic there. So why don't we just,
Exactly.
Exactly. I'm so glad we got to get into Lightyear on this podcast.
Of course, that's what we're here.
Yeah, did not see it. I don't think I will, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll see it eventually on Disney Plus at some point later this year, but I did not rush out to see that one because, I don't need to.
Yeah.
I'm too busy watching Tokyo Drift 4 times this year, right? So
exactly.
I think I haven't seen a movie in theaters since Watcher. I really loved Watcher.
The Micah Monroe movie?
Yeah.
I have not seen that yet, but I love her, and that's very high on my list to see. I think it's on VOD somewhere now. I can get that.
I was a big fan of it. It's very I'm really bad at selling movies. I'm not good at pitching, but like it's very. I want to use the term understated, like that's going to make it sound like it's nothing happens in it, but it's very like I really felt the tension the whole way through. I think that director is her name's Chloe Akuno. She did one of my favorite segments in the new. She did something in VHS 94. Which I was lucky enough to do I did the end credits montage for that, but I loved her. Yeah, I did. So it's essentially a seg. Like it's just like, oh, cut this movie, do it. I didn't pick the song or anything. It was just like, oh, do this. But I mean, I'm very well suited for that job, so I love doing it. But yeah, she did the storm drain sequence in that, which I think rules. She did the Ratma thing. So
I need more friends who have Shudder, because like I went to Shudder and I didn't know anybody who saw it, so like nobody talked about it and just kind of got lost in my shuffle. Like I love I love parts of the first three, but I really need to see that. So now I will look out for her segment and yours. Yeah,
every VHS movie has its like hits and misses, but yeah, I think hers was a hit for sure. I liked her sequence, and then I think Watcher's the first feature she directed, and I thought it fucking ruled, man. It was very.
Yeah, I'll do Watcher and VHS this weekend to make you and Chloe Akuno happy.
Thank you. Yeah. I also I just watched Shudder because they had Return of the Living Dead. I couldn't, which I know I have on Blu-ray somewhere, but like.
I think we just passed the Return of the Living Dead day, right? Because it starts on July
3rd. Yeah. I've hit the point in my life where I have amassed so much physical media that I don't have shelves for it, so I have boxes and I made like a feeble effort at cataloging them, but the fact is, no, if I can't find a movie, I just have to go dig through like many boxes to see, and I could not do that in time for Return of the Living Dead. So I was very happy that Shudder had it, even though I think that movie has a very complicated like music licensing history. So I wonder if it was all there. Party Time was in there. That's what we want to hear, right?
I saw the movie for the first time last year, and I was like, this movie is so goddamn good. I don't know why everyone wasn't yelling at me for years to see it, but it's just like, this is incredible.
It's good. It's funny watching it now because it's such a wacky movie, but I remember seeing it as a kid and being genuinely very unsettled by it. I thought it was really scary. Like the depiction of zombies in it really skeeved me out. But like you watch it now and it's the most bubblegummy, like loud zombie movie that you wouldn't think of it as, like, it's hard to even think of it as scary, but genuinely that movie totally fucked me up as a kid.
And there's the best scene in maybe any zombie movie ever, Joe, where there's a point where like the cops show up because like they call the cops because there's zombies outside and they kill the cops, and then the zombies use the cop radio to say send more police or send more cops, and just like fuck, like they're just gonna kill more cops. It's the best. It's
hilarious.
It's true. The zombies said a cab. The zombies are seemingly invulnerable in that movie, which is why I think that's why it scared me as a kid. It was just like, there's nothing you can do. Return of the Living Dead. Wow. So it's I'm glad that we covered so much ground.
I've got like 2 more things to plug in terms of the podcast. So like maybe it'll inspire another tangent, segment, spin-off, whatever. Next week, Joe, with the aforementioned Garrett Smith, who has talked to Alex before, we are doing a movie that I don't think you know anything about. I'm not going to say anything about it because I want you to know I have not seen it. It's a film called No Man's Land from 1987. There's a different No Man's Land that came out more recent than this, but this is the one we're watching for a specific reason. You will find out when you watch it next week. I have not seen it.
I will look at nothing about it. I'll just watch it.
But this is a movie that I have heard a lot about for one specific reason, which I'm sure, I would imagine, you will pick up on while watching the movie. There was one from 2001 and like last year or whatever. Don't do those.
Nah.
But this is on Tubi with ads and the Roku channel with ads. So like it's out there. It's not like one of like the Hot Rock where it's not out there. But No Man's Land from 1987. Do that for a very specific reason. We'll be joined by Garrett Smith.
Cool.
Alex, thank you once again for joining us.
Alex, you're the man. Thank you.
Talk about everything.
No, you guys are the men. You're Alex Garland's men. Sorry.
You're the titular men.
I appreciate you guys having me on. This was fun for me. I'm a video editor. I'll say it.
We're huge fans. So
great.
So thank you for doing what you do and for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, including our past episodes about things that they have waived and that they have incorporated other things. You go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/2fast2forever, or at 2fast2forever on Twitter and Instagram. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at 2fast2forever.com and our store at 2fast2forever.shop. Come back next week for No Man's Land. After that, I will have a bonus Patreon. We will announce the bonus Patreon episode on that episode, so check that out. It's the one with Brian Rodriguez, so you know it's going to be wild. And also related to things we've talked about tonight, which is not really narrow things down because we talked about like 500 movies tonight, but it's related to something we talked about a lot. So come back next week for that. 2fast2forever.com, family@cageclub.me. Thank you for listening. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe too.
And that was Alex Jacobs, and we'll tell you all about it
when we see you again.